in December of 2022. So not that long ago that she's been putting up numbers all season as well. So if I'm Fordham, she's someone I'm looking out for each and every possession on the court. And it's going to be interesting to see if they can capture that energy they had against Richmond. A little bit of a layoff, as mentioned in the intro. Over a week since they last played. Going to have to get out to a hot start fast and early.
Yeah, Keishana Washington, can't say enough about her. And if you heard in our interview with Coach Candace Green, you'll hear her assist numbers just fantastic as well, given her scoring. So lots of great players on this Drexel team. It's a real challenge, and it's going to be a great challenge for these Fordham Rams. I think particularly with how Drexel is good, they're scoring at the guard position. That's a great test for Asia Dingle, who we know, co-defensive player of the year in the Atlantic 10 Conference, has the pedigree and the ability to take care of business. So it's Fordham and it's Drexel here at the historic Rose Hill Gymnasium on campus at Fordham. We're going to send you right to the court over there with our fantastic broadcasters, Miles Grossman and Lou Orlando, who are going to take you through tonight's game. Take it away, guys.
Spring break Rand tournament in the quarterfinals. The Fordham Rams will have their last opportunity at redemption here in the NIT.
Miles, you've been talking about this veteran core all year long. You're looking at Dingle, Downey, DePauw, Jonathan graduating, Carpel and Dwolf seniors. Kind of using the term last dance for this year, right? This is this team's last run. You hope that dance would have come in the A-10s. They lose in the quarterfinals. It's disappointing. It's very sad, but awesome to get this chance, right? At-large big at the NIT, and a chance to really go on a run and end this year on a high note.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. And looking on the other side at those Drexel Dragons, similarly to the Fordham Rams, they earned that double bye in the quarterfinals of the CAA tournament via the 2 seed, and then fell in their first matchup versus the 8 seed in Monmouth. But you got to give credit to Monmouth. They took down the 1, 2, and 3 seeds en route to a ticket-punching win over the 1 seed in Townsend. And interestingly enough, Monmouth actually plays in the first 4 this evening, but they were bounced by an 8 seed, but not any ordinary 8 seed.
Right, that was a Monmouth team that ended up winning the CAA championship, and I think it's a good point, right? Both teams come into this one really wanting to avenge that loss. These are two teams that came in double byes, really finished well in the standings, but lost in the quarterfinals, lost in their first conference game. So when you're talking about two teams that should be hungry to go out there and get a win, that's what these two teams are.
No doubt about that. And as we touched on already quite a bit early in this broadcast, Keishana Washington is a walking bucket, second nationally in points per game at 27 points to a contest. 3 40-point games this year, the most in all of NCAA women's basketball. The player of the year in the Colonial. And it's really been a historic year. Set the single-season record in points at Drexel. I mean, you can't say enough about Washington, and it'll be a problem, as we've seen throughout this year, for shifty guards for the Fordham Rams.
Well, listen, Drexel may have lost, but it really wasn't the fault of Keishana Washington. She had 32 points. She became the all-time NCAA leader by Canadian players, so the accolades just come rolling in for her. And this is a Fordham team that we've seen struggle against dynamic scoring guards, and Keishana Washington right up there when you're talking about the best of the best. You said it, second in all of D1 in scoring. She gets her shots up, so she's a dynamic threat. I think you look at Drexel and you see that they probably lack the overall depth that some of those other teams that Fordham went up against when they had those dynamic guards, but when you're talking singular talent, she's right up there with the best of them.
For sure, for sure. And then turning back to those Fordham Rams, some keys to the game will absolutely be getting in transition, playing that Candace Green run-and-gun basketball. Drexel's really solid defensively, but they're much better in the half-court set as opposed to transition. But before we get underway, we spoke with Fordham women's basketball head coach Candace Green. Here's a listen. Miles Grossman, Lou Orlando, joined by Fordham women's basketball head coach Candace Green. Coach, 13 days since you returned home from the A-10 tournament, and there was some ambivalence whether or not the season would continue. If you don't mind, could you walk us through a little bit about how you found out and what that experience was like when you knew the year would continue for this staff and particularly the graduating class?
Yeah, I mean, it was just excitement and gratitude that we get to keep playing. I think our seniors obviously weren't happy with how the A-10 tournament turned out. So the fact that they get another chance to, leave a little bit of a mark, they're really excited. We can still get a postseason win.
And we talk about that this is the players on this team haven't had a postseason win, especially when you consider there's going to be 4 people graduating, have a couple of seniors. Does this postseason run mean more to them and more to the staff?
Yeah, I mean, anytime it's your last go of it definitely means a little bit more. As a staff, we're treating it like any other game, right? You can't overhype anything. You got to stay focused. Focus on our intangibles, the things that we needed to get better at. Things we learned from the tournament.
And then in our preparation for Drexel, it really seemed that Keyshawn Washington at 27 points per game is the focal point. But outside of their star point guard, what do you see as your biggest concerns about how this Drexel Dragon team could hurt you?
Yeah, I mean, they're a team that really knows how to pass the ball. Their point guard is averaging 8 assists, and even Washington, she's averaging about 3.5. I think they lead the country in assists, or top 10, something like that. So they really know how to move it. They know how to move well without the ball. They're very unselfish. So definitely something to focus on, and then they all can make shots pretty well. They're shooting a really good percentage. So definitely gonna have to be a strong defensive showing from us.
Miles mentioned Washington. She's second in the nation in scoring. So, throughout the course of this year, right, we've seen you guys defend against stars and kind of learn how to defend against some of the best. And I thought that really got better down the stretch. But what have you learned throughout the year that you're going to take into guarding against a guard like Keyshawn Washington?
Yeah, I think we're going to mix it up a little bit. We're not going to just play the same way the whole game. We're going to throw a few things at her.
We'll get started with the focal point of this offense. Keyshawn Washington, 5'7", graduate student out of Pickering, Ontario, Canada. And following up Washington, it'll be another guard, the 5th-year grad student, 5'9", out of Garnet Valley, Pennsylvania, Maura Hendrickson. 8 assists per game. And following Hendrickson, it'll be a pair of freshmen. Getting started with number 14, Kylie Lavelle, 6'2", out of Riverside High School, a breakout freshman, 4-time Colonial Rookie of the Week. And following Lavelle, it'll be yet another freshman in Grace O'Neill, 5'7", out of Westchester, Pennsylvania, 7.2 points a game, 0 points last time out. She'll surely be looking to bounce back once again. And following O'Neill, we'll wrap it up with the 6'2" senior forward, Hedda Satman, a post player with real length, 1.3 blocks per game, who can also knock it down if you allow her from beyond the three-point arc.
And Miles, when you look at this starting five, right, obviously we know about Washington. The other big key for them, it's Kylie Lavelle, right? The only other player on this team averaging more than double-digit points. So she's the other X factor for them in terms of if she gets going, that's huge for them. But I think when we talk about Fordham defensively, right, we talked about they've faced really dynamic guards. The two that stand out, Berniah Mayo and Lauren Park Lane. Lauren Park Lane of St. Paul and Berniah Mayo of UMass. Now, Berniah Mayo has gone off twice for 20-plus points. Lauren Park Lane scored the most points against Fordham this year with 35. And when you think back to both those games, right, UMass, Fordham chose to focus on Breen, Philoxy, and Taylor. For Seton Hall, a little bit more of a stacked starting five, but that's probably the closest comp, right? A guard that just kind of took it herself and dominated. You've seen Fordham adjust defensively. They're going to put different matchups. We might see, I think, Matilda Flood or Carpel or someone that's not always Asia Dingle, the co-defensive player of the year, get put on Washington. But the other thing is, it's not necessarily the worst thing if Washington goes off, as long as you limit the other pieces. We're talking about Keyshawn Washington, 600-plus field goals attempted, one of 4 players in D1 basketball to do that. So she always gets her shots up. It's just, can you limit everyone else around her? She's going to have a good game, but what can you do to limit the pieces around her?
Absolutely. Keyshawn Washington, one of the highest usage players in all of Division I. And looking over to the other side for your Fordham Rams, it's the usual suspects. First team, Anna DeWolf and Asia Dingle in the backcourt, followed by the veteran duo of Caitlin Downey and Jada DePont up front. And wrapping up is the glue of this offense, Miss Sarah Carpel.
When you're looking at this Fordham lineup, right, we keep saying it, this is one of the most talented groups you've ever seen, and it's just the second time in the A-10 era they've had 2 first-team all-conference players in DeWolf and Dingle. That backcourt, probably the best backcourt in the A-10. That's what it runs through, but you need to see a big game from the bigs, DePont and Downey. Downey had such a good game against Richmond.
So about set to get underway in round 1 of the A-10. It's Lavelle and DePont. Center circle the tip from Rose Hill. DePont got a finger on it, and looks like Washington the last tip on the near sideline. Fordham Rams the first possession of the NIT. So now Sarah Carpel to walk it up for the Fordham Rams. Crosses over in the far forecourt, takes the Downey screen, bounces high up for Jada DePont. Left side, Asia Dingle. High post, DeWolf. Swings over, right arc now. Sarah Carpel dribbles with the left hand, swings up top. Asia Dingle, two-hand overhead pass. finds DePaz, whistled for the travel, and a confusing error there in the high post.
Yeah, not bad ball movement, but just never really got that lane to the inside. They get it to the elbow for DePaz, and looks like she's shuffling her feet, trying to find a lane, and that shuffling of the feet gets the travel.
So 0-0, 25 seconds in, as Drexel has the basketball in their navy unis. Top of the key, Hendrickson looks for the cutter. Asia Dingle picks it off. In transition now, Asia Dingle crossing over, looking to go coast to coast. Too strong on the righty leg. Jada DePaz, the offensive rebound, kicks out. Left side, DeWolf whips it over right. Dingle drives in, no good, just short on the lay. Last touch, Asia Dingle going for the board. Out of bounds on the baseline. Drexel basketball 0-0, about 50 seconds into the first quarter.
Yeah, 2 tough misses for Dingle right that possession. Starts with the seal on the other end, takes it all the way down, gets 2 pretty good looks inside. We usually see her finish that, just can't get the touch to roll in.
So here's the point guard, Grace O'Neal to walk it up. Bounces it left arc over to Lavelle. Back top of the key now. Hendrickson, 2-hand overhead pass. Lavelle, left side. Into the hands of the point guard, Washington. Dribble drive, pull up on the 8-10 logo, too strong, and that's her shot. Missed it that time. Anna DeWolf pulls down the free rebound. Pushing it the other way, dribbles behind the back, fakes, kicks out. Dingle, the long 3, no good, misses short. Left, Washington pulls down the board. Pushing in transition, finding Lavelle, and can't handle the pass on the baseline. A sloppy start, 0-0, about 90 seconds in.
Sloppy start for Fordham offensively, but good defense so far, and that's DePaz running with Lavelle all the way. Doesn't turn around to the ball, just puts her hands up, and that forces that out of bounds.
So Sarah Carpel will pick it up now and cross the half-court stripe. 8:31 and ticking in the first quarter. No score. Lavelle picks this pass off, looking for DeWolf. In transition, losing control, regaining on the right-hand block. No good on the turnaround. Jay bounces out of play. Last touch. Looks like off Hendrickson and Drexel. It'll be Fordham Ram basketball, still scoreless.
One of the problems for Fordham has been slow starts, but luckily Drexel getting off to a similarly slow start. Had a 2-on-1 and couldn't get anything there.
8:14 and ticking first quarter. Asia Dingle, top of the circle, curls around, finds Caitlin Downey. Top of the key, dribbles with the right hand. Back to Dingle. Now DeWolf, standing on the 8-10 logo. Back her way down, Hendrickson, hand in the face. Finds Sarah Carpel, loses control. DeWolf regains possession. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Sarah Carpel, top of the key, down low. Caitlin Downey, too strong. On the left block layup, Lavelle pulls down the board. 0-0 ball game, 2.5 minutes in. Grace O'Neal, top of the key, dribbling with the right hand for Drexel. Finds Hendrickson, looking for the cutter down low. Washington has it stripped free by Jada DePaz. Fordham Rams in transition. Asia Dingle looking to do it all herself, flips it up with the right, and the Fordham Rams are on the board first, 2-0. 7:26 and ticking first quarter.
It was the sloppy start offensively, but the defense kept them in it, forcing turnovers, forcing stops, and eventually Asia Dingle gets the first points. Guess where? In the paint.
7:15 and ticking first quarter. 2-0 Fordham Rams. Grace O'Neal dribbles with the left hand. Hands off for Hendrickson. Top of the key. Washington offers the screen. Gets it back. Right hand slot. Swings it over right side. Short corner is Satman. Now looking down low and getting called for the offensive foul. Lavelle lowered the shoulder and Anna DeWolf.
Defensive positioning early for Fordham has been so key. You look at that interior defense, I think that was something that hurt them against Richmond. They got hurt by the size of Richmond. They got powered inside, but early on, Caitlin Downey doing a great job of playing tough inside. She draws that offensive foul.
So a 2-0 start for the Fordham Rams. 3 minutes into this ball game, holding Drexel off the board still. And the Fordham Rams 1 for 5 to start themselves. No, an all-star performance offensively.
Actually really like the way that Drexel's defense is coming out to play. It's just Fordham's gotten some transition looks.
Asia Dingle, pull-up jumper, top of the key is pure, nothing but net there. 4-0 Fordham Rams, 6:49 and ticking first quarter.
Coming off 25 points against Richmond, she was clearly the offensive star in that playoff loss.
Still scoreless, 3.5 minutes in. Drexel Dragons the basketball. Hendricks swings right side for Hodges, too strong on the mid-range J. And looks like last touch by Jada DePaz on the baseline. He'll stay right here under the basket for the Dragons. So Hendrickson, the trigger man, under the basket on the offensive half. O'Neal cuts around, looking for Hodges, swings up top. They'll find Washington, top of the key, hesitation step. Pull-up jumper is good, rattles it home right over the extended hand of Dingle.
It's so funny, when you think about athletic guards, you usually think about, like Asia Dingle, right, finishing inside. For Washington, it's that mid-range shot, as you said, Miles, that she loves.
4-2 Fordham with the ball. Up top, DeWolf curls around and hits the triple. 7-2 Fordham Rams, 4 minutes into the first quarter.
DeWolf shooting so important for Fordham's success. Had a little bit of a tough go of things at Richmond, but gets the first 3 on the board.
And here's Anna DeWolf applying the pressure on Hendrickson. Hands off for O'Neal. Far side forecourt. 7-2 start for the Fordham Rams. 5:50 remaining in the first. Washington, two-hand overhead pass. Over to Valentine. Steps in on Downey. Pulls up well short on the 7-footer. And DeWolf pulls down the rebound for the Rams. Swings left side. Dingle fake the 3. Drive baseline. Losing control. Regaining. Kicks back out for DeWolf. Takes the top of the key 3. No good. Well short there off the front of the iron. Hodges pulls down the board.
It's an aggressive take. She comes up just short, but one you allow Anna DeWolf to take.
7-2 Fordham Rams. Drexel the basketball. 5:16 and ticking first quarter. Hendrickson finds the cutter, and Washington driving. No finish, but she'll draw contact on the right wrist.
Washington is just incredibly athletic, and even though she likes that mid-range, she can finish inside too. And what you saw there is Fordham, for the first time really in this game, struggling to keep up with her. She doesn't have the ball. She's moving off ball and just moving with her, the contact there.
So a super low scoring game. Here 4:45 into the first quarter. 7-2 Fordham, but it'll be the star, Kishana Washington, at the free throw line to shoot 2 for the visiting Dragons. Washington in the pink fluorescent shoes this evening. Bends the knees and fires pure on the first. So we have some substitutions now for the Fordham Rams. Matilda Flood and Colleen McQuillan both in the game for the very first time.
Colleen McQuillan coming off what I think is one of her best games of the season.
Absolutely, as Washington good on both there. Back within 3 are the Drexel Dragons. 7-4 Fordham with the basketball. 5:09 remaining in the first quarter. Asia Dingle walks it up, skip past left side. Anna DeWolf fakes the 3, dribble drive in. Stops on a dime, flips it up. No good, too strong off the back heel. Washington pulls down the board for the Dragons. Crosses over top of the key, swings over to Hendrickson left side. Washington gets it back on the right arc. Now top of the key for Hendrickson. Looking for Hodges down low, spinning around on Colleen McQuillan, kicking back out. Here's Washington curling around, and looks like it'll be the Asia Dingle foul away from the basketball on Hendrickson on the floor.
Dingle trying to get around his screen to get to Washington, and I actually thought that was going to go against Drexel until the ref came out and pointed right at Asia Dingle.
So 7-4 Fordham Rams, 4:39 remaining in the first as we head to our first media timeout. You're listening to Fordham Women's Basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hey everyone, this is Will Richardson, guard for your...
Hey folks, this is Thomas Aiello,
with Ryan Gregware,
and we're your main hosts for WFUV Sports' new college basketball podcast, Storm the Court.
We'll talk about the top 25 rankings, some of the big games from the week before, and preview the slates ahead.
We also talk Fordham basketball, both men's and women's, so don't be afraid to listen to that as well.
Tyler Hu and Danny Scott also joined the show as recurring hosts.
So make sure to tune in to Storm the Court, a production of WFUV Sports. This is the road to March.
Everybody, and welcome back inside Rose Hill Gym. The Fordham Rams off to a 7-4 start here in the first round of the NIT against the visiting Drexel Dragons. Lou, it was a low-scoring, ugly start for both teams for the first 3 minutes, but there you see Asia Dingle getting on the board with a couple buckets, the only player with multiple.
Yeah, and this is a story I think we've seen from Fordham, right, is getting off to slow offensive starts, but the impressive thing was they didn't even need a timeout to get it fixed. It was just, hey, we're getting good looks, the touch is a little off. You saw Asia Dingle miss 3 shots that she really usually doesn't miss, and you saw her get the offense going. She gets that first shot in transition, then hits a shot from mid-range, and you go, okay, Asia Dingle's got it going, we're going to be okay. And the big thing is, Fordham defensively got those stops early on, got Drexel out of a rhythm, and I'm not sure that Drexel's really ever gotten into a rhythm in this first half. They still look like they're struggling to figure out what they want to do against this Fordham team. the interior presence of Fordham has been super strong to start. I think that's been a trend we've seen from this Fordham team last few games, as interior defense has been really strong, and not just stopping the bigs, right? Stopping the guards. Washington hasn't really had those lanes to drive.
Absolutely. Clog up the lanes as they at times couldn't against Richmond. That was a focal point to say the least. But 4 points so far on the day for the visiting Dragons, all 4 by their leading scorer in Washington. And there you see their main issue highlighted already. Where is the scoring going to come from outside of Washington?
And right, you could say this about every team. If someone doesn't have their star, where's the scoring going to come from? But especially when you talk about Drexel, and it's Washington is so much of your scoring, and I'll even throw it to, you look at their loss against Monmouth in the quarterfinals of the CAA championship. Washington and Lavelle combined for 81% of the team's scoring. So that's, you're relying on 2 players to score so much. And yes, Fordham sometimes gets into that, but you have all those options. For Fordham, it's more of a wealth and a balance of scoring.
Absolutely. So back underway in our inaugural period, 7-4 Fordham Rams, 4:36 and ticking. Washington caught on the left side, finds Satman top of the key, gets it back, left side dribble drive, stops and pulls up, no good, well short. Matilda Flood corrals the rebound.
And a great job by Flood to cut in front of Hajduk to get that rebound.
Fordham Rams back in transition. Sarah Carpel had the pass poked away by Hodges, and Drexel has it. Here's Hendrickson to walk it up. 7-4 Rams. Washington on the block F logo. Will elect to slow it up. 4:09 and ticking first quarter. Hendrickson, left side, has herself caught in the corner, flips back out to Washington. Left arc, Satman offers the pick. Sarah Carpel face guarding. Drive and kick, Hodges, short corner jumper, no good. Jada DePaul pulls down the rebound. Sarah Carpel ahead for the Fordham Rams.
And Washington drew a double, got an open shot for Hodges. Hodges couldn't convert.
So here's Matilda Flood now, top of the key, dribble drive in on the shorter Washington, and she's whistled for the travel. Looked like she got a little confused there, and she'll turn it back over to the hands of the Dragons.
Yeah, Flood trying to drive the right lane, starts to take a little bit of contact, and as she's taking that, she's looking to cut out, ends up taking about 4 or 5 steps without dribbling the ball. Pretty clear-cut travel.
So it's Drexel basketball, trailing by just 1 possession at 7-4 Fordham Rams. 3:43 and ticking first quarter. Here's the backup point guard sharpshooter Tori Hajduk in the game for the very first time. Bounces it over to Hendrickson. Hendrickson finds the cutting Lavelle, step through and a strong finish over Matilda Flood. 7-6 Drexel back within 1. Sarah Carpel quickly the other way, finds a way to the right-hand short corner, kicks back out. Colin McQuillan, Washington on her. Finds Anna DeWolf. Matilda Flood offers a screen. Here's the double team on DeWolf. Takes a couple steps in. Hendrickson pokes it free. Sarah Carpel has it. Kicks back out. DePaul, no good on the short corner. Jay pokes it free once again. And Matilda Flood secures another possession as Washington immediately pokes this free from DeWolf, driving and drawing contact in transition. And there you see it. Washington, just a one-man fast break.
It's great defense, but I also think Fordham's so sloppy early. They're getting really frazzled by Drexel's defensive presence. They're getting up, they're trying to disrupt the ball and knock it away whenever someone has it. And, you know, there are openings, there are open shots, but they've just been so out of whack.
So here's Kishana Washington, her second trip to the free throw line. Good on the first there. Already 3 for 3 from the charity stripe this evening. 84% on the season. So here's Washington once again, good on both. And Drexel has the lead now, 8-7, under 3 minutes remaining in the first. Sarah Carpel, the basketball, swings up top. Finds the cutting, Jada DePaul spinning around on the shorter. Washington can't finish. Gets her own board under the basket. Another opportunity, kicks out DeWolf, who's whistled for the travel. And looks like she just dragged the right pivot on the move on the left side.
You know, when you got to the timeout, you thought, you know, maybe Fordham had some momentum, but it's looking like that was just a rare spurt, and what this quarter is really being defined by is sloppy play, turnovers, empty possessions time and time again.
So 8-7 Drexel in what's been a very low-scoring first period. Here's Tori Hajduk, the sharpshooter, 40% from 3. Swings back up top, Hendrickson, now down low. Left side, Lavelle turning around in the post. Strong move, no finish. Too strong there. And the Fordham Rams have the basketball. Sarah Carpel pushes, flips up top, Downey, transition triple, no good, too strong. Hendrickson the rebound.
Hurts to miss an open 3 like that, the way the offense has been going.
8-7 Drexel. 2 minutes and ticking in the first quarter. Lavelle Left side, low post, kicks up top. Washington, high arcing three, no good. Missed everything there and bounces out of bounds on the baseline.
Well, Washington, 52 from 167 from deep. That's the most on the team, so she takes the most three-pointers. I think that's just a product of the volume of her shot. She's not a great three-point shooter, 31%. I think what you're going to see is Fordham's going to let her take that shot.
Absolutely. She is a three-level scorer, but if you're going to force anything, it would be that three-point shot. 8-7 Drexel. Fordham Rams the basketball here at home. 1:53 and ticking in the first quarter. Caitlin Downey the basketball, left arc. Dumps it off from Matilda Flood down low. Downey gets it back. Carpel cutting and driving, flipping up with the right-hand floater, no good. Hendrickson rips down the rebound on the left block. Hendrickson pushing ahead for Drexel. Stops at 15, swings right side. Satman, mid-range J, no good. Off the right iron. Matilda Flood pulls it down. 1:28 and ticking in the first quarter. Sarah Carpel, dribble drive left side. Drive and kick. Matilda Flood, top of the key. Three is good. And the Fordham Rams regain the lead. 10-8, 1:16 remaining in the first.
But who's it going to be that's going to break Fordham out of this offensive spell? DeWolf, Dingle? No, Matilda Flood, who actually has been one of the most efficient scorers for Fordham the last third of the season, and especially from deep.
Off the bench and immediately making an impact. Here's Washington. Dribble drive on Matilda Flood. On the right-hand short corner. Gets by her and flips it up. A tough move there. 10-all. 58 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
Actually, credit to Flood, right? She got beat. Doesn't foul there. Just allows the two inside.
So Sarah Carpel letting some clock drain now in the first quarter. Takes the Matilda Flood screen. Flips up top. Caitlin Downey. Bounces right side. Anna DeWolf. Another Downey pick. Hesitation, step, another shot blocked by Hendrickson. Drexel going the other way in Washington. She'll elect to slow it down now. 27 seconds remaining in the first quarter. About a 2-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock. 10-all. So Washington outside on that WNIT logo. Dribbling with the right hand as the clock expires. Now 10 seconds on the shot clock. 2-second differential. And it'll be the offensive foul. Satman ruled for the moving pick about 30 feet from the basket.
This quarter has been a quarter of sloppiness, empty possessions, and turnovers for both sides. And I think it's just been a battle of who can make less. Drexel now making more, and that's going to give Fordham a chance with 9.5 seconds left in the quarter to get the last shot up and maybe get out of this quarter with a lead.
Absolutely. Barring any turnovers, the Fordham Rams will have the final shot in the first quarter. 8 seconds remaining. Asia Dingle, dribble drive, step through, kicks out now. Anna DeWolf fakes and heaves, and that one's blocked. Matilda Flood, the last chance, and that one will be blocked as well. An ugly start to this one as we have a 10-all ball game at the close of the first. And we'll send it back to our Rose Hill studios for a quick scoreboard update with Colin Loughran.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
The NCAA women's first four had some gritty action last night. The two 16 seeds, the Sacred Heart Pioneers and the Southern Jaguars, battled it out with the Pioneers winning 57-47. Meanwhile, number 11 Mississippi State bested fellow 11th seed Illinois 70-56. Over in the WNIT, the first round kicked off today. Richmond leads UPenn at home by a mark of 59-38 through three quarters, and St. Joe's trails Seton Hall in New Jersey 28-11 deep in the opening frame. On the men's side, the NCAA tournament's round of 64 kicked off today, and March has already been pretty mad. Beginning in the South region of the bracket, first-seeded Alabama defeated the 16-seed Texas A&M Corpus Christi Islanders 96-75. Number 8 Maryland bested number 9 West Virginia via a final of 67-55. Number 13 Furman stunned the fourth-seeded Virginia Cavaliers by a mark of 68-67. And fifth-seeded San Diego State outplayed Charleston and won a 63-57 contest. And finally, in the West region of the bracket, the defending champion Kansas Jayhawks throttled the number 16 Howard Bison 96-68. With the one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Colin Loughran.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back inside the historic Rose Hill Gym here in the Bronx, New York. I'm Miles Grossman alongside Lou Orlando. Lou, at the close of the first quarter here in the first round of the NIT, it's 10-all between the Drexel Dragons and the Fordham Rams, and really it's been an ugly half, a lot of errors, a lot of unforced turnovers, and particularly not hitting shots for the Fordham Rams.
Miles, you've heard the expression, anything can happen in March. Apparently that includes one of the worst quarters we've ever seen from the Fordham Rams this season. Lucky to be tied. I also think that they missed a lot of opportunities to have a really big lead when you consider the way Drexel came out as well. I don't think either side is really thrilled about the performance after the first quarter, and you look at Fordham, 4 for 17 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3. But I think the biggest thing for me is they don't really look like they know what they're doing on offense. They're missing some of their open shots. They're getting blocked by a lot of their shots, and in a way where we've never really seen them just be smothered and it feel like it's their fault.
Absolutely, and I mean, Drexel, a team that surely finds their identity on the defensive end, particularly in the half-court set. As you touched on, Lou, already 3 blocks in the first quarter and a couple ugly blocks for the Fordham Rams where they were just forcing shots up. But a big part of this, the reason why this game is even knotted up at 10 is Matilda Flood coming off the bench with a huge three-pointer, and without that clutch contribution off the bench, the Fordham Rams have put up single digits in the first, and you're thinking, wow, this has been a really ugly start offensively, but kind of salvaged it there, 10-all. I think now it's about where do you go from here? Does this become a second quarter efficiency story or not so much?
Listen, we've seen this Fordham team, right, have that one bad quarter and just snap out of it and get back to playing the brand of basketball we're used to seeing from them. They're going to have to do that because there's no way you can play like that the rest of the game and come anywhere close to winning.
So now underway in quarter number 2. Kishana Washington, top of the key. Here's the double team from Matilda Flood and Anna DeWolf. Gets it to Lavelle, pulls up from 15, no good, too strong. Pulling it down now off the left side is Matilda Flood.
Flood went to the double team, contested the Lavelle shot, and then got the rebound. She was everywhere on that play.
Sure was. 9:36 and ticking. Second quarter, still 10-all. Fordham Rams basketball. Asia Dingle, top of the circle, flings it over. Left side, Colin McQuillan. Dribble drive with the right hand on Satman. Flips up the floater, and no good, too short there. Washington pulls down the rebound for Drexel. Drexel, right side, Hodges. Flings over to Lavelle in the right corner. Back to Hodges now. Top of the circle, right side Lavelle. One dribble right, hands off for Washington. Two-hand overhead pass. Hodges, top of the circle. Stops her dribble, two-hand flip up, rainbow pass. And looked like Matilda Flood got the steal, but pushed off to do so.
Definitely looks like there is some contact there. I'm not so sure that pass would have been intercepted by Matilda Flood even without the push, but definitely played a factor there. I think a good call and a good catch by the referees.
So the similar start to the first. We have in the second, 10-10, a scoreless start, a minute in. As we now have a substitution, it'll be Maura Hendrickson. 8 assists a game, checks on for Hodges, the big man off the bench. So here's Hendrickson on the baseline. Finds the cutting Lavelle, no finish, but got hacked there by Matilda Flood. It'll be 2 shots for Drexel.
Flood's there and just goes to contest the shot, and I think just contact on the way up. Looks like Drexel definitely attacking that inside, despite the fact that Fordham has been pretty strong interior-wise.
And Kylie Lavelle, the freshman, sure doesn't look like it when she steps on this court. Very poised, very powerful down low. So here's the freshman, 72% are on the year, good on the first free throw, and Drexel has their lead back, 11-10, 9:01 in the second.
Well, you talk about Lavelle on the all-rookie team in the CAA alongside Grace O'Neal, and you're talking about a team that lost 4 of their top 5 scorers from last year. You needed freshmen to step up.
Absolutely, as Lavelle is good on both there. Drexel a 12-10 lead. Sarah Carpel walks it up. Righty dribble, a minute into the second quarter. Jada DePa, hands off for Asia Dingle, and she's immediately called for the travel. Looks like once again took a step before the ball touched the court.
I mean, we see that move from her all the time where she catches it on the wing behind the perimeter, pump fake right into the drive, and usually so effective, right? She's quick regardless, but if you can get a pump fake in there, usually she can get by the defender, but trade-off is that if you don't put the ball down right away, it's travel.
So Grace O'Neal now to walk it up for the Drexel Dragons. 12-10 lead for the visitors. 8:45 remaining in the first half. Hendrickson, top of the key. Bit of a miscommunication. Washington comes down with the pass, pulls up from 15 and cans it. And 14-10 now the lead for Drexel.
Washington gets some space off of that screen and just a knockdown mid-range shooter.
Sarah Carpel quickly the other way. Finds Dingle, top of the circle. Skip pass right side, back to Carpel. One dribble in, kicks back out now. Downey on the right arc. Dribbles with the left hand, finds the cutting to Pa, and a strong finish on the right block. Rams back within 2, 14-12.
And I think Fordham can take advantage and score inside a little bit with some good ball movement, just like they did right there. They keep that up.
8:03 remaining in the first half. Washington got it on the left arc. Flips it back up top. Hendrickson, now Washington, right arc, dribble drive in, kicks back out. Lavelle will fake the three, and she'll have the dribble drive, much too strong there. And Anna DeWolf pulls down the out-of-control rebound. Kicks out now in transition. Dingle pulls up and airballs the three. Jada DePass sticks with it and gets the putback on the right block. Back-to-back finishes for Jada DePass, 14 all, 7:32 remaining in the second.
Oh, DePass, that's 4 straight points for Jada DePass. Huge rebound and goes up strong, fading away from the basket, but with touch.
Now I have a little bit of the one-man full-court pressure from Miss Asia Dingle. Washington has it, top of the key, flips out. Hendrickson will fire the three, no good, off the back iron. Caitlin Downey the rebound, finds Dingle, in transition to Wolf, the righty scoop is good, 16-14, Rams back on top, 3 minutes into the second quarter.
2 first-team all-conference players for Fordham. Dingle threading the needle to DeWolf, and that's what Fordham loves to do, running that offense in transition.
And the Fordham Rams beginning to lock in a little bit here in Rose Hill, 16-14. 6:52 remaining in the half. Washington right arc, guarded by Sarah Carpel. Dribble drive into the short corner. Double team now. Downey helping out. Kicks back up top. Sapman. Now Hendrickson. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Washington will pull up and airball. It'll be the shot clock violation, and the Fordham Rams picking up some momentum now.
Right, we've talked about Fordham playing sloppy. The one thing that's been here this entire game, the one reason that they're even in striking distance right now, having a lead at 2 points, is their defense. Their defense has not wavered. They played with intensity. Now they're going to basically double teaming any of their top players, Washington, Lavelle, and you're seeing that when the offense sparks, all of a sudden it looks like a cohesive unit.
And the Fordham Rams, a 6-0 run in the final 158. Looks like some confusion on the substitution there for Drexel, but back underway, 6:34 remaining in the first half. A 16-14 lead for the Fordham Rams with the basketball. Sarah Carpel outside on the right arc. Stops and turns around, finds Downey, finds the cutting Dingle on the extra pass, and a good finish there, 18-14.
The passing on this run has been exquisite, and I've talked about Caitlin Downey all year long. Underrated, one of the best passers on this team.
8-0 run for the Fordham Rams, 18-14. Valentine has it on the left arc for Drexel. Flips up top, Washington. Finds O'Neal on the right arc. Asia Dingle, right arm extended. Washington, top of the circle, pops the three and is pure right over the hand of Anna DeWolf there. Drexel back within 1, 18-17, 5:52 remaining in the second quarter. Asia Dingle the other way, got it on the left arc. Hands off for Anna DeWolf, one step through and hits the mid-range J, 2017 Fordham Rams.
Well, not a ton of separation there, but when Anna DeWolf's feeling it, she can hit from just about anywhere. That's an impressive pull-up from mid-range.
O'Neal crosses the timeline, trailing by 3. 5.5 remaining in the first half. Valentine outside on the right arc. Thought about the three, will decide against it. Dishes up top. Now Washington will pop the three, no good off the left arc. And climbing the ladder is Jada DePass for the rebound, but has it immediately poked away by Hendrickson, who tosses it right into the hands of Asia Dingle. And the Fordham Rams regain possession. 5:08 remaining. Sarah Carpel in transition, turning around, and her signature move is well short, kept in bounds, and the putback no good. Anna DeWolf, dribble drive in, flips up, and the floater finally falls, 22-17. And looks like head coach Amy Mallon will whistle for the timeout. The Fordham Rams are hitting on all cylinders.
As bad as, let's say, the first quarter and few minutes and change in the second quarter looked for them offensively, that's how good it looked right the next few minutes. All of a sudden hitting all their shots. We have Anna DeWolf going, and the one thing that I think has been there the entire time, offensive rebounding, right? Fordham's missed their share of shots, but Jada DePass in particular has kept the ball here, gotten them second chance points, and now you're seeing them start to convert.
22-17. The Fordham Rams have taken a 5-point advantage with 4:55 remaining in the first half. You're listening to Fordham Women's Basketball on WFUV Sports.
What's up, everyone? I'm Julia Moss, one of the hosts of WFUV's women's sports podcast, All In. Join us each week as we break down everything from the WNBA, women's collegiate sports, the NWSL, and so much more. We're also joined by recurring hosts including Maddie Bamonte, Taylor Masetta, Sam Bohr, and Annabelle Watson. All In is a production of WFUV Sports.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back inside the historic Rose Hill Gym here in the Bronx, New York. I'm Miles Grossman alongside Lou Orlando. Lou, a 22-17 lead here for the Fordham Rams in the first round of the NIT over the Drexel Dragons. And after an uncomfortable start to the first quarter, it's been Anna DeWolf and Asia Dingle, that first team backcourt, getting it done.
Absolutely, and you can't always control making shots and efficiency, but you can do things to give yourselves a better chance of upping those numbers. And for me, those two things, rebounding and passing. Let's start with the rebounding. Fordham winning the rebounding battle 19-10, but 7 offensive rebounds to Drexel's 1. And then the passing. We've seen some great ball movement on this run. And let's talk about Kaylin Downey. She's someone I don't think gets enough love nationally and just in the A-10 conference for her all-around ability. Listen, we know she's pretty good defensively. We know she can shoot the 3. We know she's awesome. She is a fantastic distributor. I really think she could be the best distributor on this team, and she doesn't get talked about like that at all. Candace Green talks about it, but few people outside this team really talk about her ability as a passer. It's effortless. A lot of those no-look passes, you don't even see it coming. It sets up open looks, or maybe it sets up the next open look. But it's Kaylin Downey and her passing, I think, have been huge in this game. And just the ball movement in general.
I really do hear you, Lou. Caitlin Downey, one of those players where even when she's not scoring, she helps you out in so many facets of the game. Now in her 5th year with the Fordham Rams, has such a relationship with Candace Green, knows exactly what her duties are at any given moment.
It's so funny, too, because it might not always show up in the assist sheet because sometimes that pass sets up the assist. But it's that pass that gets you that wide open look because the defense never had a chance to adjust because Kaylin Downey's looking one way and all of a sudden, how is the ball in the paint? It's because Kaylin Downey's doing no-look passes out here.
No doubt, Lou. So 22-17 as we get back underway in quarter number 2 between the Drexel Dragons and the Fordham Rams. Here's Grace O'Neal to walk it up. Asia Dingle applying the pressure in the far side forecourt. Hands it off for Washington, top of the key. Finds Lavelle, hands it back to Washington, immediately pops the 3 and hits it. Drexel back within 2, 22-20, 4:35 and ticking first half.
Well, Washington, a volume shooter. She is going to take her threes, and if she's making them, that's a problem for Fordham.
Asia Dingle ahead, skip pass right side, Colin McQuillan. Righty dribble drive, penetrates and kicks back out into the teeth of the defense. And that one is just heaved left side. On a tough pass there for Jada DePauw. Baseball pass flies into the stands.
Right, McQuillan draws in, drives some defensive attention, kicks out to DePauw. You have Dingle and DeWolf open on the perimeter. DePauw goes for DeWolf and just can't hit her with the errant pass.
So 4:14 remaining in our first half. Drexel the basketball, trailing by 2, 22-20. Here's High Duke, left wing. Satman, left corner. Gets it back up to Washington, top of the circle. Anna DeWolf applying the pressure. High Duke, left side. Low post entry into Lavelle, turning around and hitting. The fadeaway is good over Jada DePauw. 22 all, 3:50 remaining in the second quarter.
It's a tough shot. That's a pretty shot for the freshman.
Asia Dingle quickly the other way for the Fordham Rams, finding DePauw, no good on the mid-range J. Dingle, offensive rebound, penetrates in. No finish there on the righty lay. 22 all, Drexel the basketball. Pushing quickly, High Duke looking to do it all herself, finding Sadman under the basket, no good, just short on the lefty lay. Asia Dingle the basketball, shifty behind the back in the offensive half now. Finding Rose Nelson, who's in the ball game for the very first time and draws contact. Man, she got hacked down there.
Rose Nelson, someone we talked to Candace Green off air earlier today, was not sure if she was going to get in. She said it's kind of going to be dictated on the feel of the game and how our players are doing out there. Rose Nelson checks in here in the second quarter, gets to that ball, prevents Drexel from getting there, and then draws a foul.
Rose Nelson, the 6'1" forward out of Australia. Not the only Aussie on the court tonight. So 22 all, Fordham Rams basketball. Colleen McQuillan, short corner jumper, no good. Off the left side of the window. Washington the rebound, pushing quickly in transition. Pulls up from 15, no good. O'Neal pulls down the rebound on the left block. Finds High Duke. dribbles in, and that one's pure. 24-22. Drexel regains the lead. 2:56 and ticking second quarter. Asia Dingle crosses over. Out on the right side, finds Dingle. Down low, Rose Nelson on the board with a shifty 2, 24 all.
Well, what a dish from Anna DeWolf. Draws the defense in, gets it down to Nelson on the left block, moves over to the right block, almost a mini reverse lay under the paint.
So back to a tie ball game, 24 all, 2.5 remaining in the first half. Washington, hesitation in, pops the three, no good. Off the back of the iron, Lavelle, the offensive rebound, finds High Duke, no good on the putback. Wrestling for it is Colleen McQuillan. And looks like Colleen McQuillan has the last touch on the baseline, staying right here with Drexel.
Well, Drexel misses both of those shots, but on both of them, Downey ends up getting caught up with Hodges, and that leaves the rest of the Fordham team to come crash, and Drexel is in a better position to get to those balls. And then on that loose ball, Colleen McQuillan comes in. By the time she touches it, she's sitting out of bounds.
So the freshman Rose Nelson in this ball game, not looking like a freshman whatsoever. 24 all, Drexel the basketball on the baseline in the offensive half, getting it to Lavelle, no finish there. Sarah Carpel finishes off the possession. Grabs the free ball and pushes forward. Finds Caitlin Downey top of the key. Asia Dingle, right side, will elect to slow it down. 2 minutes remaining in the first half. Asia Dingle, skip pass left side, Sarah Carpel. Top of the key, Anna DeWolf. Out on the right arc, Dingle dictating traffic. DeWolf finds Rose Nelson, and she'll be whistled for the travel upon catching the ball, turning it right back over. 24 all, Drexel basketball.
One of those cases where, right, you think about the move before you put the ball on the floor, and hey, you got to put the ball on the floor if you're going to go somewhere, and this didn't do it right there.
Not the first time we've seen that this evening, but 24 all, 154 remaining in the first half in what's been an extremely competitive first round in the NIT.
What you've seen is as Fordham's offense has increased, so has Drexel's.
Maura Hendrickson pushing ahead for the Dragons. Left side forecourt, bounces it. Top of the key for Washington, hesitates and pops the triple. Nothing but net there. 27-24, Drexel regains the lead.
We ran into this at Loughran Park Lane as well, right? The three, that's not their top thing, but hitting today, Park Lane hit it as well, and Washington up to 16 points already.
Sarah Carpel crosses over, gets free, and can't finish the lefty scoop. High Duke pulls down the rebound. Pushing ahead is the reserve point guard. Into the lane on Sarah Carpel, finding the cutter in Washington. No good. Too strong on the finish. Hodges fighting for it. Finally pulls down the offensive rebound. Another try for Washington. Pulls up from the mid-range and hits. Two more there, 29-24, a minute remaining in the first half.
Well, you just can't give this team second looks, especially not Washington, right? It was Fordham with the offensive rebounds early, and now Drexel, we're seeing them get to some of those loose balls.
And a 5-point lead now for Drexel on a 5-0 run. 47 seconds remaining in the first half. 29-24. Dingle, DeWolf, pardon me, pops the three. No good. Well short. Was wide open on the left arc. Hendrickson pushing ahead. She'll elect to slow things down. Washington wide open. No good. And the Fordham Rams will catch a break as this one bounces out of play on the far sideline.
Actually, a very high IQ play there by Carpel. Let the ball go out of bounds. They want to get Gia DePon to this game, so they don't have to call a timeout, right? Ball stops, clock stops, and they get DePon to this game. But Fordham lets Washington take a wide open three. She's been hitting those lately, and they luck out. She misses off left iron.
So Rose Nelson some quality minutes as she checks off now. About a half a second remaining between the shot clock and the game clock in the first half. 29-24. Drexel Dragons, Sarah Carpel dribbling on the Ram logo with the right hand. High Duke about 5 feet off of her. 10 seconds on the shot clock. She'll start the play. Here's Jada DePa spinning around on the bright block, finding the cutter, and no finish on the lefty scoop for Sarah Carpel. And that's how the first half comes to an end. 29-24, Drexel the lead.
I think a fitting end, right, to that half for Fordham. An open look for Sarah Carpel, just can't finish, and that really seems to be the story of that half, right? You have that one good run in the middle of that second quarter, but overall just been inefficient, getting solid looks, but ultimately hurting themselves.
So the Drexel Dragons finish the first half on a team 12-2 run. They lead this one 29-24 as we send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the halftime show with Kris Pursiainen and Colin Loughran.
The one-on-one halftime report.
Welcome back, everybody, to the WFUV studios here in Keating Hall. I'm Kris Pursiainen, back with you, getting ready to walk you through these first two quarters of WNIT action that have your Fordham Rams down 5 to Drexel. It's 29-24. We'll get into that, not before a scoreboard update from Colin Loughran.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
The WNIT's first round is in full swing. Richmond defeated UPenn at home by a mark of 75-52, and St. Joe's trails Seton Hall in New Jersey 35-23 deep in the second frame. On the men's side, the NCAA tournament's round of 64 kicked off today, and it has been wild already. Beginning in the South region of the bracket, 15th seeded Princeton shocked 2nd seeded Arizona 59-55. Number 7 Missouri beat number 10 Utah State 76-65, and 5th seeded San Diego State outplayed Charleston and won a 63-57 contest. And finally, in the East region of the bracket, 5th seeded Duke is handling number 12 Oral Roberts. They lead 28-10 deep in the first frame. With the one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Colin Loughran.
All right, let's talk about the start of this WNIT action, Colin. Lots of games tipped off at 7 p.m. across the country here for the WNIT, but our action at the historic Rose Hill Gymnasium is between Drexel and Fordham, and as we saw, really a pretty even-keeled matchup so far, if you ask me. Let's run through some preliminary stats you know I love to do, Colin. Rebounding, Drexel 19, Fordham 23. Fordham with 3 more offensive rebounds, and that's typically due to Jada DePa. No surprise that she has 4 offensive rebounds so far tonight. Got to give Matilda Flood and her 2 offensive rebounds credit as well. But defensive rebounding, it's 14-15. So Fordham really has the only rebounding edge, and it's in the offensive rebounding department. What is it to you so far that, hasn't been allowing them to capitalize? You think it's just the slow 3-point shooting start for both teams here?
Well, I think typically Fordham's a squad that thrives off that 3-point shot. They have players like Dingle, DeWolf that love that outside look. If they're not hitting on all cylinders from out there, Fordham's going to have trouble scoring buckets. And right now, down 5 at half, you're at home. You have to like where you are, but you need more production out of your big starters. I'm looking specifically at DeWolf. Has had an interesting postseason career during her tenure here at Fordham. Can change a whole lot of narratives today by really being productive. 9 points so far, 4 of 9 from the field, only 1 of 4 from downtown, though. I'm expecting her to be far more aggressive from outside. And to your point, you need DePa to continue to keep up the intensity in the paint. 7 boards to her credit so far, 4 points as well. You need some cheap buckets every once in a while, because when those shots go off glass, you get a cheap rebound here and there. Someone like DePa put back in a chippy. Downey should be able to do the same thing. Only 2 boards for her so far, no points to her name. If the 2 of them can get clean offensive rebounds and then put it back easy, Fordham will start to trail less and get up that scoreboard quicker.
Yeah, not a big scoring night for Downey thus far, but she does have 2 assists. So, Downey getting a little proactive down low with the playmaking. I wanted to point out, just with Jada DePa, yes, she has the 7 rebounds and the 4 offensive rebounds that I credited her for. She's also got a steal. On top of that, 0 fouls committed by her thus far. So on the defensive end, really great stuff. On the offensive end, yes, she's got 4 points. She's got 4 offensive rebounds, but Jada's got 3 turnovers tonight. So she's got to lock in and just take care of the basketball. Obviously, playoff, tournament, caliber basketball here. Every possession matters more. The court shrinks. The game slows down. You guys in the studio, the crew out at the gym, they hear me say those 3 phrases all the time when it comes to tournament level basketball. That's ringing true here today. Had a really slow start to this one scoring wise. Now at the half, just 29-24. Like you said, Anna DeWolf, a good candidate to do well in that second half. Me personally, I see it because of her 3-point shooting. I think she's due for regression to the mean in that second half, which here would be a positive regression for her from maybe something like 1 for 4 to, who knows, 3 for 8, 3 for 9 by the end of the game, and get that percentage up in the 30s. Field goal percentage, she's shooting 45% so far. That's a great start for her. DeWolf's problem typically in playoff settings, in my opinion, at least those struggles she's had recently, I think are over represented by her field goal percentage. I think people, obviously big fans of the team, want to see them do well. And when someone like DeWolf shoots 7 for 22, 8 for 25 in big games, it's tough to not say, wow, she's got to be better. But when I look at how the team functions, I think because the game slows down, because the court shrinks in the tournament setting, they have a hard time creating easy buckets. Asia Dingle, someone that's good at that. That's why she's always going to score. She had a good, healthy amount of points against Richmond, even in the loss, as we know, given, even though Fordham lost by 5, Dingle had 25 points and led the team. So when it comes to Drexel, you got to bring that same energy of letting Dingle pressure the rim. That's what she does best. We know she can shoot, but what she's best at is pressuring the rim. Have Asia Dingle pressure the rim. Now, if she misses if she decides to take that read and shoot at the rim, DePauw and Downey are on cleanup duty. What she should be looking for, the number one option, a drive and kick to Anna DeWolf. Now, that could help the Fordham offense get going. DeWolf doesn't have to launch from downtown every time either. She can herself get a screen, go to the paint. I think Fordham could benefit a lot from more motion offense in the second half. I think especially in late game scenarios, even last year under different coaching management, the team's problem late is that all of their buckets are they have to be so scripted that when someone forgets a line, the whole play gets tomatoes, the whole cast gets tomatoes thrown at them. I think letting people freestyle a bit so they don't need to remember so many lines, having a set play, but just simple reads. Asia inside, find Anna. She's not open, shoot it. Both of you are not open, dump it to Jada or to Caitlin. There's got to be a simple workflow here for Fordham if they want to score efficient and quick buckets in the second half. What do you make of that game plan, Colin?
Well, obviously, Dingle, DeWolf, they factor into what Fordham's going to have to do in this second half. From a more broad perspective, something that we've seen with this team all season long, they need a third scoring option to come up, because if for some reason Dingle or DeWolf aren't hitting their shots in this second half, and even if they are, you need someone else to carry a little bit more of the load than what they're currently doing, and that could be DePauw or Downey on cleanup duty. Sarah Carpel, another candidate to take that role on, only 0 of 4 today from the field, hasn't hit a jump shot, does have 3 assists, but you want her to start connecting here and there with a couple jumpers when she gets the opportunity. DePauw, Downey on that cleanup duty. You have to start being more aggressive when you get an offensive board and take it back up. I think this is something that I've griped with for the better part of this season. DePauw right now, 4 offensive boards, only 4 points. I'd like to see her just consistently go straight back up. I know in a perfect world, everyone wants to reset at the top of the ozone and then look for something new, like you were saying, or have Dingle pressure the rim and look for a kick out. But sometimes, man, gritty is just better and gritty is more efficient. In a perfect world, we all want to be perfectly efficient, but the only thing that is really, truly efficient, getting the job done any way possible.
Absolutely. You can always justify just about anything if you've won the game. Well, why'd you guys start full court press when there were 19 minutes left in the first half? Well, we won the game.
Well, because it doesn't look aesthetically pleasing to do so. Just
right.
like, you look right now at what DeWolf has cooking 4 of 9. It looks pretty good. At the end of the game, you could be looking at something like a 10 of 21 clip, a 16 of 29 clip, something crazy like that doesn't seem as efficient as you'd like it to be, but Fordham could win. So in a game like this, WNIT, tournament play, you win by any means necessary, even if it takes a little bit of guts here and there.
Absolutely, Colin. I want to take a look at Keyshawn Washington for Drexel. Now, her start to this game, 21 points for her at just halftime. She's done this 4 for 4 from the charity stripe, 7 for 15 shooting from the field. That includes 3 of 7 from beyond the arc. Something I have to point out, though, 0 assists, 2 turnovers. Fordham is doing a good job of forcing Washington. Basically, if she's going to impact the game, it's got to be scoring. We know that's what she's best at, averaging over 27 points per game this season. But when it comes to number 1 in Keyshawn Washington and her impact on this Drexel team, well, Coach Candace Green said it best to Miles and Lou before the game. It's not just that she can score, it's that she's also averaging 3.8 assists per game this season. When you take a look at her impact, it's that she's the number 1 scoring option. She's one of the best scoring options in the country, and she makes her teammates better while at it. That's a rare breed of player, but Fordham is doing a fantastic job thus far in this one of limiting her option tree offensively, making her either score or pass for a reset. Now, on the other, scoring column members, There's only 2 of them, right? We've got Lavelle with 6 points. We've got Hajduk with 2, and that's where we're at. So looking at Washington and her impact on the game, Fordham is probably best off continuing letting her score. We'll see how that ages. We'll see if she can finish the game on top of the scoring column, but with Fordham in the lead, because that is probably how things are going to look. Even if Fordham does win, Washington will probably be the game's leading scorer on either side by a 10-point margin. So it's going to take a lot from Fordham to overcome her in the second half and overcome the rest of these Drexel Dragons. But let's get back to the historic Rose Hill Gymnasium, where Miles Grossman and Lou Orlando are ready to take us through the second half of action here in the first round of the WNIT.
It's 90.7 WFUV New York, listener-supported public media from Fordham, the Jesuit University of New York. On air, online, and always commercial-free.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back inside Rose Hill Gym here on the campus of Fordham University. I'm Miles Grossman alongside Lou Orlando. Lou, Drexel Dragons come in here, currently hold a 29-24 advantage, and a lot of that has to do with Kishana Washington. Washington 21 of the Dragons 29. Fordham only got 24. And Lou, the question coming into this one for the Dragons was, who are the options around Washington that are going to step up? Well, so far, they haven't had to.
I think, right, you kind of expected that. We threw out that stat from their quarterfinals game against Monmouth, where 81% of the scoring came from Washington and Lavelle. And now 27 to 29 points from those two. That's a bit extreme, but didn't you kind of expect that? We know the offense runs through Washington. There's no way to really just completely shut her down when she's, at 600 field goals attempted on the year. She's getting her shots up time and time again. You only limited Lavelle to 6. Hajduk has 2. I think if you looked at, hey, we allowed 29 points to Drexel in the first half, you wouldn't be too unhappy with it. It's on the offensive side. You look at yourselves, we only have 24. And, sometimes you can talk about, hey, we need to do this differently. We have to do this. We have to do that. Sometimes it's just play better. Want it, right? This does not look like a Fordham team that really wants to win this NIT game right now. And, we think we do. Everything we've heard, we heard that, they want to end this season on a high note. This is for a lot of these women the last time they're going to be playing at Rose Hill in a Fordham uniform. You want to go out on a high note, maybe go on a run for your coach, for your team in this NIT postseason, and that just comes down to, hey, got to play a much cleaner second half.
No doubt about that. They'll have to clean it up. The Fordham Rams, 1 of 7 in their final 7 shot attempts from the field to finish the first half, and that's what led to that lead for the Dragons at 29-24. And as Colin touched on at the halftime, I think Dingles had a pretty solid game. DeWolf efficient at 4 for 9 from the field, but then the question remains, where is that other offense going to come from? Who's going to help out that all-star backcourt? You need some presence, and honestly, DePauw has been really good on the boards, but the offensive half really hasn't been there.
I think that's even carrying over from that quarterfinals game against Richmond, where DePauw went 2 for 7 and really struggled offensively. Coming into that game down the stretch, she had been so good. She had a couple double-doubles racked up, and you were seeing her get those points inside, hit some of those mid-range shots. It feels like she's kind of reverted back to what we saw earlier in the year, where struggling to make shots inside, the mid-range isn't falling. For me, it's Caitlin Downey, right? You look at Caitlin Downey, not only, no points, only 2 shots attempted. And, she does feel like someone that can just disappear because of the tempo of the offense, where if Fordham's running in transition, if they don't find her the ball, she's just not going to get those looks, because you're going to get to Wolf and Dingle those looks. But feel like in the second half, you got to get Downey some looks. She can be one of your most reliable scorers. I also feel like, let's get Dingle more involved. Didn't really feel like after that first quarter, we saw too much of Dingle offensively, right? Anna kind of took over, but as we've seen throughout this year, that doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. We can see those two work in harmony. Fordham's at their best when those two are working in harmony.
Absolutely. And Caitlin Downey 0 for 2 from the field. And as we touched on earlier in the broadcast, she's a 5th year who does everything right. That doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but tonight they will need some offensive production. Only 2 shots out of her. 0 for 1 from deep. And a big part of their success in the first half against Richmond was Caitlin Downey from beyond the 3-point arc. It'll be interesting if she's able to get hot against the Dragons in in the second half because they will need it. Trailing by 5 with their backs on the line. The first round of the WNIT, this is win or go home. This is the season on the line for the plenty of fifth years and graduating seniors on this team. So they'll have to kick it into gear here. 20 minutes left. It all starts now.
And not for nothing, Miles, when we're talking about postseason play, and that's, NCAA tournament play and obviously NIT play, CBI play, Fordham, the players on this team don't have any postseason wins. Downey and Johnson came in 2019. They're 0-3 in the NIT since that 0-1 in the NCAA tournament. Last NIT win came back in 2018 against Drexel. They ended up going to the Sweet 16. But, this is a Fordham team that doesn't really have any experience with postseason wins. Now, they have experience in the conference tournament. You feel like that's similarly, a postseason environment, but it is technically not the same, But this is a group that should be hungry, and I think you expect to see a much better half. It would be really hard to go out there and play as poorly as they did in the first half.
Absolutely. So underway here in quarter number 3, 29-24. Fordham trailing with the basketball. Caitlin Downey, right elbow. Fakes the handoff, takes the dribble back. Finds Jada DePa, top of the key. She'll fake the step in and pull up from 18, and it's pure. Fordham Rams on the board first in half number 2, 29-26 Dragons.
That's not an easy shot. Her foot might have been on the three-point line there. That's a deep mid-range shot, and she buries it to start the half.
Washington quickly the other way, has it poked free. Lavelle, Caitlin Downey the basketball under the basket. Dingle pushing the other way. One-man show, kicks out right side. Sarah Carpel dribbles in with the left hand, finds DePa, looks to do it again, and just rattles in and out from the same spot. Now Drexel the basketball. 29-26, 9-10 and ticking in the third quarter. Hendrickson dribbles with the left hand, top of the circle. And into Wolf, applying the pressure, left side, now gets it to Washington. Top of the key, Asia Dingle. Washington calling for the ISO on the right side. Has it stripped free by Dingle, and it'll stay right here. Dingle says last touch by Washington. She won't get the call.
That's just a textbook play when someone's going up for the shot. Where's the easiest spot to block it? Down low as they're going up and bringing the ball up, and that's exactly what Asia does.
So 29-26 Drexel. The basketball under the basket on the sideline, on the baseline. Here's Satman. Hands off now. Top of the key, heaving the triple and hitting is Hendrickson from the righty slot. 32-26, 8:42 and ticking in the third quarter.
The three's been a pretty big part of Drexel's game. Not sure that we thought that coming in, but it's really helped them keep this lead.
Asia Dingle open on the top of the circle, kicks out. Jada DePa, right side, short corner, finding the cutting Downey and having it poked free by Lavelle. Drexel the steal, 32-26, 8:24 remaining in the third quarter. Washington will elect to slow things up on the Ram logo. Washington dribbles with the right hand. Asia Dingle applying the pressure. Grace O'Neal jogs over for the outlet. O'Neal crosses over. Bounces it right back over to Washington. Right arc. Hendrickson. Skip pass right side. Washington dribble drive. Pull up is pure. Nothing but net there from the short corner. 34-26. Fordham quickly the other way. 7:51 remaining. This one's poked out of bounds on the far sideline, staying right here.
For Fordham, this is really a chance to counteract the offensive momentum of Drexel, right? He got the points to start the second half from DePa, nothing since.
And DePa gets the inbounds pass, drives in, kicks out. Downey, top of the key, three is pure. Fordham Rams back within 5, 34-29.
We talked about it at halftime, right? You need some scoring from Downey. You need some of these pieces to step up, give you a boost, and that's Caitlin Downey. We know she can shoot the three.
O'Neal walks it up slowly, hands off for Washington. 7:30 remaining in the third quarter. Fordham Rams trail by 5, 34-29. Washington, left arc, loses control, regains. Asia Dingle applying the pressure. Hendrickson on the righty slide, dishes out to Satman, high arcing three, airballs it. A battle down low, Lavelle keeps it inbounds. O'Neal has it, and it'll be the shot clock violation. No contact made on the shot, and the Fordham Rams get a stop.
You probably don't love that they didn't get the rebound there, but a great job, right? That ball never hits rim, so good awareness. They're just going to trap her, make it impossible to hit rim, and they get the shot clock violation.
So now the Fordham Rams, the basketball. Sarah Carpel crosses the timeline. 7:03 remaining in the third quarter. Jada DePa, top of the key, hands off for DeWolf, immediately pops the three, no good, off the right side of the iron, and O'Neal climbs the ladder and rips down the rebound. Hendrickson, the other way for the Dragons. top of the circle, dribbles between the legs with Anna DeWolf on her. 34-29 the lead. 6:41 remaining in the third. Hendrickson bounces over right side. O'Neal holds up on the right arc. Finds Hendrickson, gets it to Washington. Lavelle cuts in, gets the pass, much too strong on the lay, and a battle down low, but the Fordham Rams come up with it off the scrum. Dingle the other way in transition, beautiful step through, no finish there on the reverse, but draws contact, will shoot two from the charity stripe.
Ridiculous that Asia Dingle even split those two defenders to give herself a chance at that wild reverse layup, and just a little bit too strong, but right, forces the crazy contact, and she'll go to the line, and didn't see any of that from her in the first half, so you'd love to see her do that a little bit more here.
So the Fordham Rams, who shot 0 free throws as a team in the first half, will now have their first two of the evening in Asia Dingle, trailing by 5. The point guard hits the first, and the Fordham Rams are back within 4.
And it's funny, right? We think of Fordham as a team that attacks the paint aggressively, but really the only person that gets to the line is Asia Dingle.
So Dingle, no good off the back heel on the second. A battle for the rebound, and the last touch looks like it'll be off of Dingle herself, going for it. And it'll be Drexel basketball.
Just a mad scramble. Dingle's free throw shooting has taken just a little bit of a step down in this second half, but still goes 1 for 2 from the line. And anytime you get a chance at those 3 points, you'll take it.
And the Fordham Rams, a bottom 5 team in the nation in 3 throws attempted on the year. They trail this one by 4 now following the Asia Dingle missed free throw. Here's Hendrickson, fakes the overhead pass, dishes right side. Hodges dribbles with the left, finds O'Neal. Outside on the right arc. 2-hand overhead pass, Washington. Sarah Carpel applying the pressure. She'll slow it down on the left arc. Elects to back her way down. Spins into the lane and draws contact. It'll be on the floor, though. Should be the sideline inbound for Drexel.
Fordham bench is going to call for the travel here. They thought that Washington took too many steps, and I think it's just a question of what happened first. Yes, I think there is contact, and it might be the case that that contact caused Washington to travel.
So now it'll be the baseline inbound for the Drexel Dragons in their Navy unis. Leading by 4, 34-30. Top of the key now, O'Neal gets it in, hands it off immediately for Washington. Sarah Carpel on it. 2-hand overhead pass into Hodges, spinning around, flipping it up, and Matilda Flood swats it away, grabs the rebound, and Sarah Carpel will walk it up now. Sarah Carpel quickly the other way, a burst of speed into the front court, finds Jada DePauw, and the Fordham Rams are back within 2, 34-32.
DePauw can make a living on the blocks inside the paint, and just another nice feed there from Carpel to the open man.
5.5 remaining in the third quarter. Hendrickson dribbles with the left on the WNIT logo, crosses over top of the circle, dishes right side, Claire O'Neal outside on the right arc. Sarah Carpel attempts to steal. She'll dish down low for Satman, hands it right back off for O'Neal. Top of the key, Hodges. She'll fake the overhead pass and get it to Washington. Washington steps into the 3, no good. Off the left side of the iron, Sarah Carpel pulls down the rebound, flips it ahead for Anna DeWolf. Fordham Rams in the offensive half. Dishes it left side, Dingle the 3, no good. Too strong off the back heel, and Drexel pulls down the rebound. Hendrickson looking to go quickly the other way off the left hand to Hodges on the baseline, and the Fordham Rams will force the turnover. 34-32 Drexel Dragons, and that'll take us to our immediate timeout in the third quarter. 4:47 remaining in the third. Fordham Rams trail by 2. You're listening to Fordham Women's Basketball on WFUV Sports.
Hi, this is Mike Breen, WFUV class of 1983. WFUV is the flagship station of Fordham Athletics with live coverage of Fordham football, Fordham men's and women's basketball, in addition to Saturday one-on-one. Stay right here on 90.7 FM for all things WFUV Sports.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back inside Rose Hill Gym, here where the Fordham Rams are back in this ball game, trailing 34-32 at the hands of the visiting Drexel Dragons. I'm Miles Grossman alongside Lou Orlando, and the Fordham Rams have charged back, right, Lou? And a big part of that is really shutting down their only offensive option for Drexel in Washington.
Absolutely. When you're talking about this third quarter comeback, I'm not sure that the offense is back yet, right? You got a 3 from Caitlin down. The outside of that, it's not clicking, but the defense continues to be so good. And when the defense is good like that, you're going to get offensive opportunities. And that's the case of, right, Washington to come out of this half the first 5 minutes. Only 2 points, hasn't really hurt you. On the last play to take us to media timeout, we have Gia DePaul running with Lavelle. It's a fast break opportunity. Simon kind of forces the pass, and just another good job of DePaul. Not going to go for the ball, not going to foul, just going to let the ball sail out of bounds by being a presence there. And that's Fordham's transition defense has taken such a leap from what we saw from the first few games, and a big part of that is Jay DePaul sliding into a starting role, being tasked with, hey, no one behind you, you're there running, forces a turnover there. But absolutely, Fordham's defense is by far the best aspect of their game today.
Absolutely, and a couple forced turnovers, and that's going to lead to that run and gun Candace Green offense, and I'm really looking for that to get going down the stretch here. The Fordham Rams feel most comfortable when they're moving with pace. One of the highest scoring teams in Fordham women's basketball history, just up there with that 91-92 team, so you can really see that they haven't had that high scoring offense today. 32 points through about 2.5 quarters, and that's going to need a pick up, get in transition, and a lot of that is forcing turnovers, provides opportunities.
Well, Miles, it's no mistake that when they've looked at their best offensively, it's been with that pace running in transition.
No doubt about that. So back underway in quarter number 3, 4:41 remaining in the third. Colin McQuillan, top of the circle, flips it over, gets it back now, left arc is pure on the three-pointer, 35-34, Fordham Rams back on top one.
How about Colleen McQuillan giving the Fordham the lead here, and she's just been such a knockdown shooter. Has actually had some trouble from beyond the arc lately, but knocks it down there.
Super clutch contribution off the bench. Fordham Rams up by 1, 4:15 and ticking. Dingle pokes this one free, one-man fast break, loose, lefty lay is pure, 37-34, Rams back on top 3.
Well, there's the reason she's your Fordham single-season steals leader and top 10 in career steals in just 2 years here. It's because she does stuff like that day in, day out.
We've seen her make a living picking off passes, and now the Fordham Rams are picking up some mo. Pick another one free. Matilda Flood comes down with it, and Anna DeWolf in transition for the Fordham Rams. Crosses over in transition, flips it up too strong. Washington will pull it down. Man, what an opportunity. Washington looking to go coast to coast, flips it up with the right, no good. Valentine under the basket, no good on the putback. Fordham Rams the basketball. Asia Dingle pushing ahead in transition. It looks like she'll finally slow things down. Gets it to Colleen McQuillan, and that'll be off of Hodges' last touch on the baseline. Man, things have picked up pace-wise.
Well, we've talked about, right, Fordham is at their best when they move fast, and when did they do out of the media timeout? They played fast, and all of a sudden, boom, you have a lead, and that pace gets you open shots for people like Colleen McQuillan.
37-34 as the Fordham Rams have the lead and the basketball, 3:22 and ticking in the third quarter. Dingle, top of the circle, flips it over right side. Colleen McQuillan on the right arc, crosses over now. Declines the Matilda Flood screen, hands it off, and it'll be the offensive foul on Colleen McQuillan. It was the pick handoff on the top of the circle, and the Fordham Rams don't like the call.
Fordham doesn't love the call. I think it's a pretty fundamentally sound screen right there from Colleen McQuillan. The only thing is, there's contact, but contact's not illegal, right? Like, that's allowed to happen. If your feet are set and they run into you, even if they fall to the floor, that's not on you.
3:03 remaining in the third. Fordham Rams the lead. 37-34. Washington the basketball, top of the circle. Hands off for Hendrickson. Down low for Lavelle on the low post entry. Goes up and gets fouled. And it looks like it will be 2 shots going up for it. Matilda Flood whistled for the contact.
That's another call that you can tell the Fordham bench doesn't love. And I think that's one of those borderline ones where, yes, there's the shot's contested, and there might be a little bit of contact, but not near anything that you would say, yes, that's a definitive foul.
So 2 shots now for the freshman Kylie Lavelle. Deeply bends the knees. Good on the first. Already a 2-for-2 trip earlier this evening. The freshman 72% from the charity stripe coming into this evening's contest. The righty free throw is good the second time around, and Drexel back within one with 2:52 remaining in the third. 37-36, Fordham Rams the lead in the basketball. Matilda Flood, top of the key, hands off for Colleen McQuillan. Getting harassed by Washington, looks a little uncomfortable, now finds the outlet pass in Dingle. Dingle slowing things down on the left arc. Crosses through, getting shifty on the A10 logo. Spinning around, the extra move, no good on the finish. Grace O'Neal rips down the rebound, and Asia Dingle whistled for the foul on the loose ball.
Let me say it again. Fordham bench doesn't love the call, and this is another one where Asia Dingle's just jumping up for the rebound, and she's going to land. She's not going to get the rebound. Grace O'Neal behind her is going to get the rebound. And as Dingle lands, she stumbles back and falls into O'Neal. So is there contact? Yes, but I'm not sure that constitutes a foul.
Questionable to say the least, but Drexel, the basket, all coming off the Asia Dingle foul. 2:21 remaining in the third quarter. Hendrickson on the Fordham Ram logo, dribbling with the left hand. She'll slow things down with Colleen McQuillan on her. 2:12 and ticking. Third quarter. Hendrickson out on the left arc. Finds the cutter in Washington. Spinning around on the left arc, applying the pressure, taking a step back and heaving an ugly shot there. And the Fordham Rams get the rebound in transition, and Anna DeWolf, the wild finish, and an opportunity for an and one. 39-36, Anna DeWolf, an opportunity at the charity stripe for one more.
Miles, I'm shaking my head. DeWolf runs the 2-on-1 with McQuillan, and she takes it herself, arm fully outstretched, somehow gets the touch and takes the contact. That's ridiculous.
Unreal stuff. And the first free throw attempt for the senior guard is good. Pardon me. 40-36. And the Fordham Rams are rolling here at home now.
Miles, I have to mention, Asia Dingle checks out. She's at 4 fouls already. We are not in the fourth quarter.
4 fouls with 1:49 remaining in the third, and it'll be the 3 seconds for the offensive foul on Lavelle down low, about 10 yards away from the ball, and she turns it right back into the hands of the Fordham Rams.
Right, and if you're Fordham, you're lucky that Asia's fourth foul comes at a point where your offense is moving and Drexel's struggling to get things going. You have a 2-possession, a 4-point lead. Feels like everything's moving in your favor.
Sarah Carpel quickly the other way. Hands off from Matilda Flood. Gets loose on the short corner. 2-hand overhead pass. Gets it left side. Anna DeWolf gets her way down and draws contact. It looks like it was on the floor prior to the made layup. The Fordham Rams are whistling for the continuation.
Washington plays very physical defense guarding Anna DeWolf. I thought that, the way they've been calling fouls, that they maybe even could have got her for one at the beginning of that play, but as DeWolf drives in, she draws that contact once again.
So it sure is on the floor. It'll be the baseline inbound for the Fordham Rams in the offensive half, leading by 4. 40-36. Sarah Carpel, top of the circle. 1:32 and ticking in the third. Carpel calls out the play with the left hand, dribbles with the right. Gets it over to Colleen McQuillan, who has it poked free. And it'll be Sarah Carpel committing the loose ball foul on Grace O'Neal. And once again on the floor, but that one puts the Drexel Dragons in the bonus in the third period. It'll be 2 shots for, I believe, O'Neal, trying to make this a 2-point game.
Minute 24, right? The way that Fordham has been fouling or getting called for fouls in this game, this is an opportunity for Drexel to get back in this game, right? Down 4, but a chance to get back to 1 possession with just 1 free throw.
So now it'll be the freshman guard with her first free throw attempt of the day. No good off the right iron, and a rare miss for the 75.8%er. So here's the second opportunity for the freshman. Grace O'Neal deeply bends the knees and pure on the second. Drexel Dragons back within 3, 40-37, 1:22 and ticking. Here in the third quarter, Fordham Rams the lead in the basketball. Sarah Carpel bounces it over Jada DePa. She'll slow things down. Dribbles with the left hand now. Looks for the cutter, and Anna DeWolf a bit behind her. She'll regain possession, backing her way down and flipping it up and getting it to go. It touched all parts of the rim there, 42-37.
Anna DeWolf has just taken over in this game. It doesn't matter if there's contact inside. She's getting to the hoop and she's finishing.
42-37, under a minute remaining in the third quarter. Hendrickson, top of the circle, bounces it right side for Washington. Fakes and drives in. It'll be the block whistled on Sarah Carpel, and I don't believe the call. Man, those feet were almost set. And the Fordham Rams equally displeased.
This one, I think, actually could go against Sarah. Washington hits her with a pump fake. And Carpel flinches, and I'm not sure if she leaves her feet or if she moves her feet at all. If she doesn't, then it's a great play by Carpel and a tough call, but definitely some movement by Carpel that could be called a blocking foul, and I'm not surprised that's what they made the call.
So the fifth-year graduate guard out of Canada now at the free throw line in a big spot to wrap up the third quarter. Washington bends the knees, and Pure on the first free throw makes that 5 for 5 on the evening.
And if we're doing the foul trouble right now, we're looking at Carpel at 3 as we head into the fourth quarter.
Exactly, Lou. Not even in our final period yet. Here's the all-star point guard, player of the year in the Colonial, buries both. Drexel Dragons back within 3, 42-39. Sarah Carpel walks it up. It looks like there's an issue with the clock, and I don't know if the shot clock ever reset following the free throws.
It appears that it did not.
So it looks like our near side referee, Norma Jones, realized, said, hey, we got to blow this one dead. So at the moment, 41.5 seconds remaining in the third quarter, and they'll readjust the shot clock from 15 back to 25 for the Fordham Rams. DePa cutting to the basket and gets it down low. Double team and getting hacked and losing control, and it'll stay here. Man, that was physical.
There is a lot of contact. First off, a gutsy inbound pass, a jump ball essentially to DePa. Gets tipped, she gets it back, and then driving to the hoop. Contact sends her to the floor and no call.
42-39 Fordham, the lead and the basketball. Left side, Colin McQuillan thought about the three, finds Sarah Carpel, drives in, kicks right side. Up top, Colleen McQuillan buries the triple, and the Fordham Rams pick up some more. 45-39, 22 seconds remaining in the third.
Perfect from deep for McQuillan on those 2 shots, gives Fordham a 6-point lead, and you simply can't leave her open. Drexel just got kind of caught up with that first shot attempt.
And the shot clock is off in the third quarter, 8 seconds remaining. Washington, one step in, pulls up on the triple and cans it from the right side, and the answer is Pure. That's how the third quarter will come to an end. The Kishana Washington show continues, and she's got 25 now already, I believe.
Make that 28.
Make that 28, tacking on the 3 more, but the Fordham Rams control a 45-42 lead through 3 quarters. And we'll now send it back to our Rose Hill studios for a scoreboard update with Colin Loughran.
The one-on-one scoreboard.
The WNIT's first round is in full swing. Bowling Green bested Liberty 86-77. Richmond defeated UPenn at home by a mark of 75-52. And St. Joe's trails Seton Hall in New Jersey 35-23 deep in the second frame. The women's first four has also begun. St. John's leads Purdue 39-33 at halftime. On the men's side, the NCAA tournament's round of 64 kicked off today. It's already been something else, as beginning in the South region of the bracket, 15th-seeded Princeton shocked the second-seeded Arizona team 59-55. Number 7 Missouri beat number 10 Utah State 76-65, and 5th-seeded San Diego State outplayed Charleston and won a 63-57 contest. In the East region of the bracket, 5th-seeded Duke is throttling number 12 Oral Roberts. They lead 40-23 at the half. And finally, in the West region, Rick Pitino and his 13th-seeded Iona Gales will battle number 4 UConn tomorrow at 4:30. With the one-on-one scoreboard, I'm Colin Loughran.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back inside Rose Hill Gym. I'm Miles Grossman alongside Lou Orlando. Lou, a Fordham Ram lead now 45-42 at the close of the third quarter, and they've really been battling one-on-one with Kishana Washington, it feels like. She's got 28 on the evening on an efficient 9 of 20, including 4 for 9 from deep. She averages 27.2 per game, and today is already above average even for her.
Right, I think it is important to remember she had 21 going into the first half, so she only had 7 in the third quarter, and 3 of them came on that heave at the very end. And listen, it's a great shot. It's a huge answer after McQuillan hits that 3 to put you up 6, to answer back for Drexel, get them back within 3. But for the majority of that quarter, Fordham held her to 4 points, right? And that's the key. You look at holding Drexel as a whole to 13 points. Meanwhile, you have your best quarter of the game from 21. You shoot 61% from the field. If Fordham does that again offensively, you feel like you're in a good spot. But again, important to remember, Asia Dingles has 4 fouls, and think back to the UMass game, it was a similar situation where she got to 4 fouls before the end of the fourth quarter, and she didn't play the first half of the fourth quarter, and ended up being a little bit official for Fordham in the sense that they got to get McQuillan out there. McQuillan hits the initial go-ahead shot against UMass in that game, but don't you wonder, what happens? That was a 2-point loss. What happens in that game if Dingle's out there for the entire fourth quarter and you're in a spot where we're probably not going to see Asia Dingle come in until after the media timeout?
So true. Important to mention, Lou, Asia Dingle officially not out there on the court to begin this fourth quarter with 4 fouls, a lot of foul trouble. And you can tell she's sitting over there, a bit of a sulking facial expression, very frustrated.
I don't think she loves some of the calls. The Fordham bench definitely did love some of the calls, and it's playing a big factor here, right?
No doubt about that. But underway in what could be our final period here in round 1 of the NIT. Drexel the basketball, trailing by 3, 45-42. Hendrickson finds the cutting Hodges, spinning around and hitting over Caitlin Downey. Back within 1 now are the Dragons, 45-44. Asia Dingle down low now. DePauw got some contact, and she got fouled there by Washington. There'll be 2 shots for Asia Dingle. Jada DePauw.
Good job. A great look by Anna Dole-Frey. She sees DePauw cutting into the paint. No one's picked her up yet. By the time she gets the ball, yes, she has been picked up, and I think a good job by DePauw to initiate that contact and kind of loses the ball going up. I'm a little bit surprised they pulled the trigger on that call.
So just the 4th and 5th free throws of the day for the Fordham Rams. It'll be Jada DePauw, the 81.6%er. And the veteran is good on the first.
You think back to that Richmond game, that loss. That was one of the 5 games this season where Fordham shot under 60% from the free throw line.
So here's Jada DePauw on the second and gets this one to rattle in. 47-44 there for Jada DePauw now. And Drexel will walk it up with 9.5 remaining in the fourth. Here's Grace O'Neal, top of the circle. Colleen McQuillan on her. Bounces it right side for Hendrickson. 2-hand skip pass left side on the short corner is Hodges. Hodges will hold it up, left corner. Finds Hendrickson. Bounces it left side. O'Neal dribbles with the right hand. Got the mismatch on her. Finds Hendrickson. Now Lavelle, low post entry, backing her way down. No good. Off left iron. And Caitlin Downey will pull down the rebound. 47-44, 8:57 remaining in the fourth. As Sarah Carpel has this one poked free by Hendrickson. And Drexel in transition. Hendrickson short on the pull-up J. It looks like last touch on the baseline by O'Neal. It'll be Fordham Rams basketball.
Well, a good job by Fordham, right? A lot of times on turnovers, that's a transition opportunity, but both DePauw and Downey get back to the point where Hendrickson has to take a mid-range shot that you don't love, and then Fordham gets the ball back.
For Sarah Carpel, the basketball crosses up. Takes the DePauw screen, dribble drive in, now bounces it off last touch of O'Neal under the basket. It'll be Fordham Rams, baseline inbound.
I think Fordham's a little lucky that Drexel got a fingertip on that one. Carpel whipped that pass into DePauw, and they were only a few feet away.
So here's DePauw under the basket. Letting the play develop, finds DeWolf outside on the left side, short corner, immediately pulls it, no good. Off the front iron, Grace O'Neal pulls it down. Grace O'Neal pushes ahead, dribbles with the right hand in the far side fourth corner. Finds Hendrickson. Here's Hajduk, left arc. Back up top. Here's O'Neal now. Fakes the overhead pass. Anna DeWolf on her. Finds Hodges. High arcing 2. It looks like a super long 2 with her foot on the line, but it's pure. And Drexel back within 1.
Fordham, I think just a little lucky that she didn't look down and take a step back beyond the three-point line.
So now here's Caitlin Downey, another skip pass. Colleen McQuillan, right side, nothing but net there. Fordham Rams back on top by 4, 50-46.
Hey, you want to talk about bench points? How about 9 from Colleen McQuillan, 3 of 3 from shooting beyond the deep on the line.
And that's exactly what she's proven she can do. The definition of a three-point specialist. Fordham Rams up by 4 now. Lavelle outside on the right arc. Finds Hodges, right corner, 3. That one just in and out. Boy, she was open. And the Fordham Rams corral the rebound. Left side, Downey. Left side now wide open. Colleen McQuillan couldn't hit on back-to-back tries. And the save by Sarah Carpel into O'Neal. Drexel in transition. O'Neal pull-up jumper well short. Jada DePaul rips this one down and is immediately whistled for the travel. Man, I thought that was a foul, but it'll be the travel going right back with the Dragons.
I do think DePaul shuffled her feet after she grabbed that rebound, took a little bit of time to try and set her feet, and then ends up being a travel. I do think that's the right call there.
So Fordham Rams the lead, but not the basketball at 50-46. 7:15 remaining in the fourth. Drexel the basketball. Washington curling around for the mid-range. Jay buries it from the left side. Drexel back within 2, 50-48.
And even 30 points for Washington.
And Washington already 43 times this year, the most in the NCAA, proven she can get hot. Here's Jada DePaul, near side, short corner. Back her way down on the Aussie and Hodges. Step through, draw contact, no finish. Off the right iron, it'll be 2 shots for Jada DePaul.
Jada DePaul just plays that physical game in the post, and you talk about Fordham being a bottom 5 team in all of D1 basketball and free throw attempts. Well, DePaul can help change that by getting the ball in the post, being physical, going up strong. A lot of times when you're at the post and you go up strong, you'll draw contact.
Absolutely, and here in this fourth quarter, you really would have no idea the Fordham Rams get some of the fewest free throws in the nation. So here's Jada DePaul for her 3rd and 4th free throws of the day. Good on the first. DePaul, a 2-for-2 strip very recently.
How about Jada DePaul with a little double-double, 11 points, 10 rebounds.
And early, a slow offensive start, but has got it going in the second half as she has another 2-for-2 strip from the free throw line.
And Fordham 6 of 7 from the line after those struggles against Richmond. They left points on the line in the game. They only lost by 5. They went to the line more than 5 times. Here converting from the line.
52-48 Fordham Rams. Hodges step through on Matilda Flood, and for the second time, Matilda Flood swats it away. Jada DePaul corrals the rebound, and the Fordham Rams will slow things up. 52-48, 6.5 remaining in the fourth. Jada DePaul, top of the circle, dribble drive in, and has this one poked away. A little out of control there. Hendrickson, the rebound, going Drexel's direction. Dishes it up top for Washington, now on the Fordham Ram logo. Will take a couple steps back and slow it down. 6:12 and ticking, fourth quarter. Trailing by 4 are the Drexel Dragons. Sarah Carpel applying the pressure. Washington has it poked free by Carpel. Regains possession, hands it off for Hendrickson. Gets it back, now the double team from the Fordham backcourt. Hendrickson, O'Neal playing hot potato with it, and Haidu can't get the shot off. It'll be the shot clock violation, and a beautiful defensive possession for the Fordham Rams.
Well, we don't usually see Fordham pull out the half-court trap too often. It works there, and man, Drexel was not expecting it at all. And eventually, right, they get that open look, but at that point, it's way too late.
And just everybody playing great defense, sticking like glue to their man.
The one constant for Fordham today has been the defense. It's one of the only reasons they have a lead in this game. It's given them the opportunity to get this comeback.
So now with 5:49 remaining in the fourth, Sarah Carpel will walk it up for the Rams, leading by 4. Finds the cutting, Matilda Flood, who can't get it to go on the lefty layup, and a good recovery there for the Dragons. In transition now, Drexel, Washington calling for the ISO on Sarah Carpel. Backing her way down, left block, flips it up, doesn't get the foul call, and no finish. Caitlin Downey pulls down the free rebound. 5.5 remaining, Fordham Rams in transition, leading by 4. DeWolf behind the back, spinning around, kicks out now. Colin McQuillan, right arc, no good. Off the back of the iron, Lavelle pulls down the rebound for the visiting Dragons. Over to Washington, in transition, flipping it up and drawing contact on the scoop. And the chaos will finally hold up there with the whistle. 52-48, it'll be 2 shots now for Kishana Washington.
And you know what, that hasn't been... Actually, that's been something that Washington has done a lot today. She's going to get to the line for her 7th and 8th free throws as Asia Dingle checks in. We got some fans complaining about that call. They didn't think Washington had the ball. I'm not so sure that he's wrong.
But a big substitution there. Sarah Carpel off. Asia Dingle on with 4 fouls now, with 5:09 remaining in the fourth. And a couple of big free throws for Kishana Washington. Already 6 for 6 from the charity stripe on the evening. The veteran bends the knees and buries the first. 52-49 now.
Get to the line as much as she does. I believe gets to the line, the 3rd most in the nation to hit from an 84% rate. That's a lot of points.
And Washington already 21 points in the first half. They'll make that 31 now with 5:09 remaining in the fourth. 52-50, and Asia Dingle to walk it up for the Fordham Rams. Crosses the timeline, burst of speed ahead, into the right side short corner. Caitlin Downey calling for the ball on the mismatch. Kicks it right back out. Extra pass. Colleen McQuillan dribble driving in the lane. The floater banks it in. 54-50. Fordham Rams back up 2 possessions.
Double digits, 11 points for Colleen McQuillan. She is come on fire here in this second half.
4:44 remaining in the fourth quarter. 54-50. Fordham Rams the lead. Washington the basketball. Outside on the left arc. Asia Dingle applying the pressure. Dribbles with the right hand. Here's Colleen McQuillan. Pardon me, Matilda Flood applying the pressure. She stepped out of bounds on the baseline drive. It'll be Fordham Ram basketball.
Miles, it's been the bench for Fordham today. You've got threes from Matilda Flood. You have defense from Matilda Flood. We have a career high 11 points for Colleen McQuillan. 3 threes and a bank floater. They're taking over in this game. You compare that to Drexel, where they rely so much on their starters. For Fordham to have this outburst with Asia Dingle on the bench with some of their starters struggling, it's so key.
An absolutely huge stretch for the Fordham Rams with 4:28 remaining in the fourth. The Fordham Rams lead this one by 4, 54-50. You're listening to Fordham Women's Basketball on WFUV Sports.
Brian Gregory here, joined with Michael Calamari and Andrew Galata, 3 of your hosts for Nosebleeds, WFUV's only baseball podcast.
Tune in every week as we recap the latest from the Bronx and Queens, as well as news from around the MLB.
You can listen to Nosebleeds on Apple, Spotify, WFUVsports.org, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Take a trip around the bases all season long with the Nosebleeds podcast on WFUV Sports.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back inside the historic Rose Hill Gym here in the Bronx, New York. I'm Miles Grossman alongside Lou Orlando. Lou, Fordham secures a 54-50 lead here with 4.5 remaining in the fourth. And really, with Asia Dingle back out there, it really looks like they're poised to come away with this victory.
I mean, you're looking at a Fordham team that's just getting a wealth of scoring from everywhere. You have 14 from DeWolf, 12 from DePaul, 11 from McQuillan. Everyone except for Sarah Carpel has scored in this game. And you throw that against Drexel, right, who relying so much on Washington. And yes, 32 points, she's keeping them in it. But for Fordham, it's just been a team effort. And you have to feel 4:28 left, a 4-point lead. Their game seems to be getting better. And we talked about, hey, you have to want it. If you want to come out in the second half and win this game and have your season continue, you have to go out there and show that you want it. This team is doing just that. And you have to feel like, yes, they're in a pretty solid spot.
Absolutely. This is win or go home for many of these seniors. DePaul, Downey, Dingle, and co. fighting to play another day, and you can really see that grit was turned up to start the fourth, gave them a 4-point advantage. I don't expect it to go anywhere down the stretch.
And, I won't be surprised if we see that intensity take a notch up, with Asia Dingle coming back in this game. She comes in for Sarah Carpel, and I think Sarah Carpel adds an element of tranquility to the offense. She's so calm, she's a great facilitator, and it's fun to see her and Dingle work together, right, because you have Dingle, who's so high octane, so electric, with Carpel, who's so smart, so deliberate, a great facilitator. With Dingle here and Carpel not on the court, I think we really might see a super fast pace.
Absolutely. It'll surely be an exciting last 4:25 of the fourth. Fordham Rams the basketball. Asia Dingle ahead. 54-50, the lead in the ball. Curling around and popping from the 810 logo. Anna DeWolf gets it to go. 56-50.
Anna DeWolf doesn't need to set her feet when she takes shots. She can take that off dribble, soaring in the air, and takes it from the free throw line.
4:05 remaining in the fourth. 56-50 Fordham Rams. Washington top of the ski. Gets it over to Hodges. Top of the key. Now back to Washington. The high arcing three. In and out. No good. Matilda Flood pulls down the rebound. Gets it ahead to Dingle, and she's whistled for the travel. Oh my goodness. The Fordham Rams turn it right back over at 56-50.
And that is, right, the turnover that you get, no pun intended, with Asia Dingle when you're going to let her run fast. Every once in a while, it's going to get a little out of control. She's going to try and push past people, and every once in a while, she's going to get called for that travel.
So now really coming down to crunch time, 3:50 remaining in the fourth. Hendrickson top of the key, Annie DeWolf applying the pressure. Far side forecourt, lets the play develop, looks down low for the cutter in Lavelle. No finish on the left block, but she got the contact, I believe, from Caitlin Downey. It'll be 2 free throws.
Yeah, and the contact actually came after the shot. Downey's rushing over to get there. Lavelle's already in the air, and by the time she lands, Downey just lands into her because she had to run over to get to that spot.
So Lavelle really solidified her spot as the number 2 offensive option for the visiting Dragons. Already 4 for 4 from the free throw line today. 72% on the year. Real breakout freshman. In and out and just rattling back in again. 56-51 now.
Credit to Drexel, 14 of 15 now from the line, and it really feels like they've gone to the line a ton today and they've made their free throws.
So true. Made a living at the free throw line as Lavelle buries one more, 56-52. And with 3 minutes and 40 seconds, Drexel back within 4. Dingle on the block F logo, crosses over, letting some time click. As this one, the rainbow pass is picked off, looking for Downey. Lavelle got the hand on it, and Drexel in transition. Washington kicks out. O'Neal, mid-range J, rattles around and out. Poking it free now, and the Fordham Rams have it in transition. Dingle stops, drawing contact, and that's got to be some kind of play. It was a kick, my goodness, but it'll be.
Yeah, she got tripped on the way up.
And a very intentional trip, if I say so myself. She was on the ground looking to do anything she can. It'll be 2 free throws for Asia Dingle. The 4-point lead as it stands for the Fordham Rams, 56-52, 3:12 remaining in the fourth.
I do want to go back to the rebound, right? It was a tie-up, and Colin McQuillan, who's been doing it today offensively, knocks the ball out of Drexel's hands, and that gets Fordham moving into transition, and eventually they get the ball into the hands of Asia Dingle.
So Asia Dingle now at the free throw line, good on the first. That'll make her 2 of 3 on the day, 1 of 2 coming into this trip. The Fordham Rams looking to make it a 6-point game as the free throw is finally good there for Asia Dingle. 58-52, 3:10 remaining in the fourth. Washington out there on the Ram logo, looks for a teammate. Finds Hendrickson. It looks like the offensive foul on Washington away from the basketball, and she's pleading her case to Norma Jones, but nothing she can do about that one. It'll be Fordham basketball, 3:02 remaining in the fourth.
I'll tell you what, Amy Mallon's squad had really cleaned it up in the second half. We saw a lot of unforced turnovers and unforced errors for them in the first half. They've been pretty clean, but they're just an offensive foul, and it comes in a huge spot with Fordham with momentum.
Sarah Carpel flips up top for Caitlin Downey. Carpel gets it back. Lefty slot. Backing her way down on the much taller Hodges. Flips it up with the right hand. No good, but the offensive rebound. Asia Dingle, the reverse putback. 60-52. Fordham Rams by 8. 2:41 and ticking in the fourth. And it looks like it'll be the immediate timeout for head coach Amy Mallon. 60-52. And the Fordham Rams have surged ahead.
Asia Dingle back in the game after sitting for, 7 minutes and immediately making her mark, adding 4 points to her leisure. And that one, a huge one. Sarah Carpel, a tough miss. Asia Dingle right there. A ridiculous reverse light. I don't know how she got that in there at the angle that she shot it, but somehow Asia Dingle just always finds a way to make those go in.
And part of that is just right place, right time, but a super strong finish and flipped it up. The hook shot right under the basket, and a timely bucket for the crafty Asia Dingle. 60-52 with 2.5 remaining, and the Fordham Rams are in a great spot to play another day.
Absolutely. And, let's keep it right here. We're looking at Fordham, I think just the offensive effort in the second half. Listen, the defense has been there the whole day, but you needed the offense to take a step up, and boy, did it. You have Anna DeWolf going off. You had Jada Pa taking a huge step in the second half. Obviously, we've talked about McQuillan off the bench, but we're talking about, in my mind, it's a seamless offense. That's the word that comes to mind. It's coming easy. You think back to that first half and how difficult Drexel made it for them, and when they wanted to get looks, we were seeing Anna DeWolf get blocked on shots. We don't usually see Anna DeWolf get blocked on, right? So there wasn't any space. When there was space, they weren't hitting their shots. Offenses had a completely different feel in the second half, and right, Kishana Washington's still getting her looks, but we said it going in, Washington can go off for 30. As long as you limit everyone else to or below their averages, you're in a good spot, and that's kind of where we're at right now, right?
And Washington, a beautiful performance, 32 points on 10 of 23 shooting, including 4 of 10 from behind the three-point arc, and she's gotten some help from the freshman Lavelle with 10 points in double figures now, but beyond that, no one with more than 3 points, only 3 other players on the box score, and we knew that was this team's biggest red flag coming in. Far too reliant on Washington, and that theme has exposed itself down the stretch. It carried them through the first half, 21 points from Washington, and Washington can't get you 21 every half.
It really is funny, right? Washington is the only player in D1 basketball this year, or the last 2 years, to have 600-plus field goal attempts in back-to-back years, right? So we're talking about someone that's been doing this, but you looked at last year, they had more scoring depth. They had Tessa Brugler, and now you look at they lost 4 of their top 5 scorers coming into the season after winning the conference championship, and it was clear they were going to run their offense through Washington, and the problem really has been that outside of Washington and Lavelle, they don't have that many reliable scoring options, and even though Fordham primarily runs through Dingle and DeWolf, you have your Downies, you have your DePaz, you have your Floods, you have your McCrullens. We're not really seeing that for Drexel.
Very true. Solid contributors off the bench, particularly today. And one name I do need to highlight is Colin McQuillan, 11 points, 4 for 8 shooting on 20 minutes. Man, she has been key, just an absolute sharpshooter getting it done this evening. It looks like we're getting the okay from our SNY ESPN Plus broadcast. It'll be Lavelle to inbound on the far sideline when we are all set, and looks like it's about that time. 2:38 and ticking in the fourth. Fordham Rams by 8. Hodges in the far side forecourt. Hands off for Washington, top of the key. Immediately pulls up from 3 and just rattles this one. Toilet bowls around and in. And a huge 3 there for Washington. 60-55, and she's got 35 on the evening.
And that would tie the career high for an opposing, or the season high for an opposing player against Fordham. Lauren Park Lane had 35. Washington has 35 now, and right, we talked about a big X factor for her today could be the 3-ball, and if she's hitting it, well, 5 from 11, I mean, that's 15 points right there.
I mean, Washington has just absolutely torn the Fordham Rams apart from downtown, and in the biggest spot of the evening, she finally gets it done again, and Candace Green immediately whistles for the timeout. I mean, you have to think at a certain point, Candace Green is saying, make somebody else hurt us.
I mean, it really is, especially when you know that it's Washington. It's going to be Washington. She's going to take the shot. You really almost want to double team her, but I think the tough thing, and we ran into this issue with Park Lane where you knew Park Lane was the scorer. You knew they were running through her in the fourth quarter. When it's the point guard at the top of the key, it's so hard to do a double team. You leave yourself so wide open on the wings, on the corners, in the paint. Unless you're going to do that, you know, that half-court trap that they did. They worked that one possession, but there's always going to be an opening there. So when a guard is so good like she is, and when she can dominate from the top of the key, it really makes it hard to stop.
Man, Keishana Washington has just lived up to the hype in every possible way. The graduate student out of Pickering, Ontario, Canada, the highest scoring player ever in NCAA Division I women's basketball, born in Canada. But here back underway in the fourth, 2:12 and ticking. Fordham Rams a 5-point lead. Asia Dingle, dribble drive in, flips it up and just gets it to go on the wall. Fordham Rams back up 7, 62-55.
Miles, get out of here. That's ridiculous.
Under 2 minutes remaining as Jada DePaz swats away the Washington transition lay, and the Fordham Rams are back in transition. And that one squandered into the hands of Hodges. DePaz commits the foul and will slow things down. And that was just transition error after transition error turned into a bucket.
Right, DeWolf had the right idea. She's going to get it, and I think the defense knew because they drifted towards DeWolf. They knew that Carpel was going to dish it to DeWolf. DeWolf tries to shuffle it back, but Carpel takes a different route than she anticipated.
So 62-55, the Fordham Rams lead this one by 7. Drexel the basketball, Washington top of the circle. Asia Dingle applying the pressure, pull up, step back, jumper is pure there. 62-57, 1:38 remaining, and Drexel back within 5.
Washington's ability to just create an open shot for herself, it's unparalleled as to anyone we've really seen this year.
Genuinely unbelievable at times. Here's Kaylin Downey, top of the key. 2-hand skip pass, right corner, Sarah Garpel. She'll dribble it out onto the Block F logo for the Fordham Rams and slows things down. Here's Asia Dingle. Step through, skip past now, and gets it over to Anna DeWolf. Left corner. Got Hendrickson on her. Steps through and pops the J. No contact there. And looks like last touch by Anna DeWolf. 1:08 remaining. And looks like this will be Drexel basketball.
Anna's going to plead her case. I think she's going to try and say that it got tipped by Drexel. She's still talking with the referees, and now I think they're going to review it.
And thankfully they will, because I believe Anna DeWolf is correct. She got the shot off. It got tipped by Hendrickson, made contact with the back of the basket, and flew out of play. As it stands, it's last touch by the Fordham Rams. Drexel basketball, but they could very well overturn this one.
I mean, right, so DeWolf's on the corner. If we're talking about the backboard, her shot was closer to the side that didn't have the hoop than it did. And, you know, we've seen Anna DeWolf miss occasionally, but we've never seen her miss that bad. So I think when you see someone like Anna DeWolf miss a shot that drastically, your inclination should be, hey, maybe someone got a finger on that.
No doubt about that. That one surely looked like Hendrickson's long arms really reached out and got a piece of that one. But as it stands, it's Fordham Rams 62, Drexel Dragons 57. And the possession's still up in the air. Looks like Tony Redden and Norma Jones over there deliberating.
You know, one thing I want to say, regardless of whose ball this ends up being, one of the things I love that Fordham's done these last couple of minutes is the pace they have played with. We saw that one possession where they tried to slow it down. They were up with 3 minutes left. Dingle does that lob pass and it gets intercepted. Fordham doesn't really do a good job of purposely trying to slow the game down, especially when they're up. So I like that they're keeping the pace up. They're just going to keep adding on.
And the call officially has been overturned. It'll be Fordham Ram basketball leading by 5 with 1:08 remaining in the fourth quarter. And Anna DeWolf and co will get another chance to extend this lead. And if I'm not mistaken, there is only 1 second on the shot clock. We'll add one more. It'll be 2 seconds on the shot clock here for the Fordham Rams on the baseline inbound.
Well, while we've got some time, I just received a text from our wonderful SID Ryan Ewick. Jaya DePa with her 12th rebound. She's got 1,000 career rebounds for her career. So how about that for a milestone?
Genuinely a special career. 4 years over there in the NEC. Now making an impact at the A-10 as this one gets it into DeWolf, and she hits on the right short corner, 64-57. 1:04 remaining. And it's panic time now for the Drexel Dragons on the road. Hendrickson caught up in the right corner. Bounces it up top for Hodges. Hands it off now, Washington, top of the circle. Sarah Carpel harassing her, pops it, and this one will go, but it'll be on the floor. And Sarah Carpel, the veteran decision to just grab the hips of Washington, and it'll be a foul on the floor.
I mean, it's, right, sometimes you joke about when players doing really well, just hug them, do whatever you have to do to stop them from scoring. Carpel took that literally, and honestly, it worked, right? It's a foul on the floor.
And that one worked out because it's very close to being an and one.
She made the shot. That's the greatest thing.
She made the shot. And luckily the Fordham Rams got the contact in before the shot attempt. So it'll be the sideline inbound. Trailing 64-57 are the Dragons. Hodges hands off for Hendrickson, top of the key. Under a minute remaining, 45 seconds to be exact, as Asa Dingle rips this one free, pulls it down, and she's doing what she does best as she gets hacked. It'll be on the floor, of course, but Asa Dingle just wreaking havoc.
Well, Dingle takes a hard tumble, but it's her steal with Fordham already up 9 to steal possession from Fordham. They're going to go to the line, and you really feel like Fordham in the driving seat, and if they play their cards right, they should be able to cruise to a finish in this one.
40.4 remaining in the fourth. It'll be 2 shots for the Fordham Rams in Asia Dingle in the bonus for the final 40.4. 64-57, looking to extend the lead. Here's Dingle, no good, and really almost rushed the free throw there. No good off the left iron.
Right, you have a 9-point lead. You still want the free throws. Anything could happen.
And Dingle buries the second. That'll make her 4 of 6 on the day. And looks like it'll be the immediate timeout for head coach Amy Mallon. As it stands, 65-57, Fordham Rams 40.4 in the driver's seat. Under a minute remaining here in the first round of WNIT play.
You know, we're talking an 8-point lead, but 40 seconds left, and this is really the critical possession. If Drexel is able to get off a 3 here, you kind of get yourself into some conversations about some long shot comeback. You force a stop here, really tough for them to do anything. It's going to be tough no matter what. Again, we've been on the opposite side of these scenarios where we're watching the clock go down, we're down, and we're trying to figure out what's the magic number where if we go down by this much, it's over. I don't think that we've hit that magic number yet, but I think we're 1 possession away.
Absolutely. We must be close to it if we aren't already at it. And Kishana Washington been an absolute all-star today. 37 points. And she had 32 points in their quarterfinal loss to Monmouth, so starting to become a bit of a theme. So here's Hendrickson. Gets it over to Washington. Heaves the triple. No good, just short. And she finally looks human. Hodges wrestling for it. Loose ball. Caitlin Downey comes down with it and calls the timeout. The veteran getting it done down low. And 30.7 remaining as Caitlin Downey looks a bit shaken up. Her teammates will help her up. And she's hobbled on that right knee. It's a bit of a light jog, a limp jog, if you will, Lou.
Yeah, well, they've told us, the coaching staff has been very upfront. Caitlin Downey herself has been very upfront about talking about the knee injuries that she's endured this year. She said it's been by far the most painful season she's had to go through. They've been modifying workouts all year long. She really doesn't do sprints. When they do sprints, she'll go on the bike. Josh Greer, the associate strength and conditioning coach, all year long has been modifying workouts to keep her healthy, to monitor that pain level. And right there, it's the right knee on that loose scramble for the ball. But let's run through that last play. Kishana Washington gets an open three. She misses, as you said, she finally looks human. And then it's just a mad dash for the ball. And it's Caitlin Downey who ends up diving on it. And huge heads-up play, calling timeout right away. And now you're in that spot, right? You have the possession. Drexel needs to foul. They've taken Washington out because Washington has 4 fouls. She can't foul or she's out of the game.
So important to note, Caitlin Downey is out there. Sarah Carpel, the trigger man, looking to find a teammate, finds DeWolf, and they'll get it in the offensive half, and the foul immediately committed by, I believe, O'Neal, and it'll be 2 shots for Anna DeWolf, leading 65-57, 29.5 remaining in the fourth.
You bury both of these, you can put this game to rest. It's a squad that no one on this team has won a postseason game yet. Awfully close, just 29 seconds away.
So Anna DeWolf 1 for 1 from the free throw line today, as there you see Kishana Washington checking back in following the fouling situation. But as we said, Anna DeWolf 1 for 1 on the day as she bends the knees, make that 2 for 2, 66-57, under 30 seconds remaining in the fourth. So here's the second, DeWolf. Good on both, and a 10-point lead for the Fordham Rams. It looks like the whistle for yet another timeout. 67-57 at 29.5 remaining in the fourth.
Well, Drexel, this is, right, their season's going to come down to the line right here, so obviously they're going to call as many timeouts as possible. They're going to try to the very end, but down 10, 29 seconds left. I think you just put about a lid on that one. With that free throw, 20 points for Anna DeWolf, a phenomenal game, and you're talking about a game in which Asia Dingle missed a good chunk of the second half, and obviously the entire team stepped up. When you're looking at Anna DeWolf scoring 20, coming off a game in Richmond where she struggled, to have this performance, to have this bounce-back performance, it's huge, especially as we look down the line. If Fordham wants to go on a run this NIT, hey, you're going to need DeWolf to be hot.
No doubt about that. Anna DeWolf, the star of this team, has been for many years, possibly set to depart at the close of this season and having a bit of her last dance as a Fordham Ram, now chasing her first ever postseason win. 20 points on 8 of 17. She's had a really special day.
Right, we were joking about how the Rhode Island game where she hit the game winner, that could have been her last game at Rose Hill if they didn't host the NIT. And I guess, it's maybe not as dramatic that her career doesn't end on a buzzer beater, but it's still pretty good to look at the stat line.
So 67-57, 29.5 remaining. It'll be Drexel basketball. Hendrickson, the trigger man, looking to find Washington, gets it in, and Dingle immediately commits the foul. I mean, the last thing you want to do if you're the Fordham Rams is stop the clock.
That will be it for Asia Dingle. And we'll give credit to her. She only played 28 minutes. We're saying only because she usually plays 34, sometimes even 39, right? Still put up 16 points despite missing a chunk of the second half.
So now Drexel in the bonus for the final 28.9. Asia Dingle fouls out. And now it'll be Kishana Washington for 2 more, as the first one is pure, just as pure as all the others have been. My goodness, 9 for 9 from the charity stripe on the day. Washington closing in on her 4th 40-piece of the season, bends the knees and is pure on the second. And I believe that'll make it 39 for Washington.
It should be 39, so if they get one more possession, she'll have a chance to break 40. She's already done that a few times this year. Again, it's been a fantastic season for her. And, we could talk about this Drexel game. It's looking more and more likely like this is going to be a loss. Tough to put it on Kishana Washington, right? She goes out there, puts up 39 points, 12 of 27 from the field, 5 of 12 from deep, and 10 of 10 from the line. She really does it all, and I think the conversation just circles back to where's the help? You get 10 points from Lavelle, but outside of that, you're not getting too much, and you throw it over to Fordham where losing Asia Dingle for part of the second half, that the whole team comes up together and you have people coming from all off the bench to contribute points. It's just really two different teams, and it seems like Fordham's style much more conducive to winning.
No doubt about that. The help has really been there this evening off the bench, particularly in Colleen McQuillan. So here's Sarah Carpel, the sideline inbound. Gets it into Colleen McQuillan herself. Dishes out to DeWolf. She'll drain some clock with 25 remaining. And then finally get fouled by O'Neill on the floor. It'll be 2 more for Miss Anna DeWolf, leading by 8.
It was a pretty spin move by DeWolf to avoid the initial foul attempt. He was able to kill a few more seconds off. In total, I think it ends up just being, say, 4 and change.
So 25.2 seconds remaining in the fourth, and it'll be the veteran Anna DeWolf to shoot 2 more. DeWolf bends the knees, good on the first. DeWolf 5'8" out of Cumberland, Maine, coming off a tough performance in the quarterfinal, lost to Richmond. And she's good on 2 there, 69-59, and the Fordham lead is back to double digits.
Once again, it's Anna DeWolf that's putting the dagger in this game, gets her final stat line up to 22, and it's going to be impossible for Drexel to come back from that one.
So Washington will let this clock tick as she heaves the 3, and oh my goodness, I think she's fouled on the 3-point shot. And Washington in a wonderful spot to cross that 40-point threshold. Trailing by 10, now 69-59, but it'll be 3 shots for the all-star point guard Kishana Washington at 39 points.
Well, let me already hit you with this. This is already the most points scored against Fordham, man or woman. Dr. J scored 37. She already has the record. She's going to add to it here at the line. Thank you once again, Ryan Ewick. He's the best SID of the year.
Unreal day for Washington, and she's good on the first, and there's 40. And Kishana Washington has her 4th 40-point performance of the 22-23 campaign for the Drexel Dragons. And in her 5th year, her senior campaign, she's really made her mark on Philadelphia Division I college basketball.
To put that in context, Miles, Fordham's never had a player score 40 in a single game for the women's team.
So Washington good on the second, and she'll look to wrap up the trip with a third. She's already at 41 points through 39 minutes. Washington bends the knees and is, of course, pure. My goodness, 42 points dropped on the Fordham Rams for the first time in history.
It's a Roseau record. It's a Fordham record. It's not the record they really wanted to be setting, and I guess, hey, you'll take it in a win. At a certain point, you just have to sit back and say, man, Kishana Washington is a special talent. She certainly made her mark in the NCAA as a whole, as you said. The leading NCAA scorer for players born in Canada. And the accolades go on and on. AP All-American, honorable mention. She's a fantastic player and really did everything to try and single-handedly will Drexel to a victory here over Fordham. It just wasn't enough, and I think that goes just to Fordham's second half effort. They were so strong on both sides of the ball.
Such a well-diversified attack for the Fordham Rams. But looking at the foul trouble now, Sarah Carpel fouled out with 5. And Asia Dingle fouled out with 5 as well. 23 seconds remaining in the fourth. A 7-point lead with the Fordham Rams having the basketball. 69-62. 23 seconds and both teams in the bonus.
You look up right. Getting the 3 free throws, I think, is a little big for Drexel, but Fordham just has to be careful with the ball. As long as you don't turn over the ball, you're going to be okay.
Downey, the trigger man, gets it into McQuillan, gets it right back, and it'll be Caitlin Downey sent to the free throw line for 2. And if you're the Drexel Dragons, not exactly who you want to foul. The best free throw shooter on this team at 88.2%.
Yeah, I think she would lead the A-10 in free throw percentage if she had enough attempts. She only has 34, so not nearly going to qualify. But when she gets to the line, she's money.
So Caitlin Downey, her first free throws of the evening. Downey, the righty free throw, is good on the first. 70-62, 21.3 remaining in the fourth. Caitlin Downey looking to make it a 9-point game here. Downey, 4 dribbles with the right hand, flips it up and pure on the second. 71-62, 21.3 remaining in the fourth. Washington surges ahead. Burst of speed on Anna DeWolf, steps through Colleen McQuillan. And Matilda Flood helping out there. And looks like Washington on the dribble drive will earn 2 more free throws with 16.8 remaining.
And make no mistake, this is not like charity. Fordham's just gifting Kishana Washington points. She's just that good. There are 2 people that are contesting a drive-in by Kishana Washington, but she's just so good at moving the ball, moving her body. we get used to it seeing Asia Dingle. I think Keyshawn Washington might be on a different level.
Keyshawn Washington bends the knees and rattles in the first. She had 21 first half points. Now she's got 22 second half points. 43 on the evening, looking to make that 44. Bends the knees. The righty free throw is no good, and she finally misses. Jada DePaul pulls down the rebound. Caitlin Downey has it. 11 seconds remaining, and Grace O'Neal commits the foul in the backcourt. And Drexel almost a little hesitant to continue with this fouling here with 10.6 remaining. It'll be Caitlin Downey, 2 more, leading by 8.
They are just extending what is becoming
inevitable
for right. This is going to be a victory for Fordham, but I'm not sure Fordham's going to complain. We get some free throws here for Caitlin Downey as Keyshawn Washington gets a standing ovation from the Rose Hill crowd as she comes off.
And a special night for Keyshawn Washington, and hard not to participate in this applause because, man, oh man, Keyshawn Washington came into the Bronx today and made her presence felt by everyone in the building.
And have to give some love to Maura Hendrickson as well. Number 2 in the nation in assists per game. They both come out. They will both graduate. They were 5th years.
So Caitlin Downey good on the first, 72-63. Downey looking to tack on one more, and she's good. 73-63, 10.6 remaining. The Stars of Drexel have checked off. Here's the backup point guard, Tori Hyduke. A surge of speed ahead. Colleen McQuillan taps this one out of play with 4.7 remaining. But the Fordham Rams will pick up their first postseason win in quite a while. 5 years to be exact, if I'm not mistaken there, Lou. 73-63. But man, oh man, a momentous victory.
The first postseason win since they beat Drexel, and that was Bree Kavanaugh, the redshirt freshman at the time, leading the way.
So here's Lavelle, 3 seconds on the clock, pops the mid-range J, no good. Matilda Flood pulls it down, and that's how this one comes to an end. Fordham Rams 73, Drexel Dragons 63, and the Fordham Rams will march on to the second round of the WNIT.
And you know what, Miles? After that first half, you weren't sure, is Fordham's season going to come to an end here? And what did we say? Have to see the passion in the second half, have to see the will to keep this season alive, and that's exactly what they did. You're looking at, let's do some quick math, 49 points in the second half for Fordham after what? They put up 24 in the first half, so they essentially doubled their first half total. It was an absolutely fantastic effort. You get 22 from Anna DeWolf, a career-high 11 points for Colleen McQuillan, and when you're talking about the bench, that's what really made it happen today.
And as we'll now be joined by head coach Candace Green, 73-63. The Fordham Rams pull off the win in the first round of the NIT. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time. The first half, it was an offensive struggle, but it felt like the defense was really there for 40 minutes. What do you got to say about tonight's defensive effort?
Yeah, really happy. That was probably one of our best executions. Other than I felt like in the first half we gave one some easier shots than we wanted. We knew she was going to get her points. She's a great player. And then offensively, we knew it was going to take a little bit of time because they play that matchup zone. Kind of just got to get used to it. And we also haven't played in, so many, how many days. So the travels were plentiful.
Talking about this defense, right? Washington scores 44. That's a Fordham record by an opponent. She beat Dr. J's record for men's or women's. But the big thing was you held everyone else down. So what went into that? Obviously, Washington's going to get her points, but you held all the supporting pieces down, so you were able to get this win.
Yeah, I know. We looked at the games, and it seemed like they would win or lose regardless of her scoring. She was always going to get one. We thought the key was the supporting cast, so we tried to focus in on them and, making one take tough shots rather than easy shots.
Hey, Coach, I was chatting with Anita Jennings ahead of this one. She was telling me about how this staff and this group of players hasn't seen a postseason win in quite a while. Just wondering how much this victory means for your sake and is also your staff, including Miss Anita Jennings.
Yeah, it means a lot for all of us. We've been hunting for one these last few years. I'm glad our seniors were able to enjoy it, and hopefully we can make a little run here.
Asia has to go to the bench in the second half. She gets to 4 fouls in the third quarter, but you look at the way the bench steps up, and specifically Colleen McQuillan, a career-high 11 points. What did you see from the bench effort today?
Yeah, super happy, especially Colin, because she didn't have a great first half. She didn't. She took some bad shots. She fouled a little bit, but I'm so happy with how she responded. She's a kid. We always want shooting. Anytime she's open, we're like, just chuck it. We love your shot. So really happy for her.
Coach, thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on the big postseason win, and we can't wait to talk to you after round 2. 73-63, the Fordham Rams will take this one from our on-site producer, Julia Moss. He's been Lou Orlando, and Lou, a fun one.
Absolutely, this was a super fun one. I mean, right, the first half we got a little worried. You went, that's pretty sloppy basketball. That's honestly probably one of the worst first halves you've ever seen from this Fordham Rams team. But to see the way they rallied in the second half, they get this win, and we're talking about all year long about how fun this team is to watch and how special we think this team is, and you just love to see them get a postseason win. And it's going to come down to next round. They're going to play the winner of Columbia and Fairleigh Dickinson University. That game's tomorrow at 7, and all signs point to a Columbia win, and I think they're 44 or 47 in the net rankings. They're a really good team, but we're talking about a Fordham team that not only playing for themselves, playing for their coach. Let's not mention, Fordham has to open up the interim head coach at the end of the year legally by NCAA rule, so it's not a guarantee that Candace Green comes back, and you don't think it would help if they go on a run in the NIT to maybe boost her resume a little bit. This is a team that loves her. The team made a tweet in support of her. They want her to stay, and now they get a chance to go on a run. They'll probably have a tough opponent next week. We won't know till tomorrow, but you get a postseason win, you can't ask for more.
Absolutely right, Lou. A big win at home for the Fordham Rams, and they'll await the winner of FDU and Columbia. That'll be tomorrow evening down at Columbia. But that'll do it from us inside Rose Hill Gym. Once again, a special thanks to our on-site producer, Julia Moss. He's been the one and only Lou Orlando. I'm Miles Grossman as we send it back to our Rose Hill studios for the post-game show with Kris Pursiainen and Colin Loughran.
The one-on-one post-game report.
Welcome back to the WFUV studios here at Fordham University. I'm Kris Pursiainen, back alongside Colin Loughran, ready to discuss what was a tournament win for Candace Green, Anna DeWolf, and the Fordham Rams. And really, you take a look at the lead offensive contributors. It was your usual suspects, DeWolf, Dingle, DePauw, Downey, scoring a lot of points for the team, but Colleen McQuillan, a career-high 11 points. So lots of fun storylines to track in this one, Colin. I got to start with what our broadcasters addressed with Coach Green, and that's the defense. And the reason I want to point that out, we talked at halftime about how Washington only had 2 turnovers, but 0 assists. Didn't look great. She finishes the game with 0 assists and 5 turnovers, a sign that Fordham was able to perfectly follow the defensive plan I outlined for them at the half, which was continue to let Washington to score at the cost of not letting anyone else get hot. Once she was able to trust her shooters, things were going to go poorly for Fordham. Of course, she broke a record, like Lou said on the air. 43 points for her is a record against Fordham basketball, men's or women's. But what's really impressive to me is that Fordham came out on top despite that performance.
And not to oversimplify matters here, but it does take a village. A one-woman show doesn't win big tournament games. All credit is due to Keyshawn Washington. The 43-point performance, we understand how special she was tonight. But even still, Fordham played better as a team unit, and defensively, they made it a point to kind of let her live and do whatever she wanted by playing good deny defense and everybody else and deciding, you know what, we're going to win in the trenches. Offensively, Fordham could have just as easily relied on someone like a DeWolf or a Dingle. Instead, they got a little bit of everything from everyone. 22 from DeWolf, 12 from DePauw, 7 points from Downey, 16 from Dingle. As we said, it takes a village. You cannot win with just one player at the collegiate level. Very hard to do so at the pro level, too. But tonight, just a story of being willing to doing whatever it takes to win.
And Colin, I think you said it perfectly. It was a real team effort here. You take a look at the rebounding numbers. Yes, Washington is great. Keyshawn Washington is probably a singular talent compared to the opponents I've seen Fordham women's basketball face over my 2 years covering the team here, but nobody on Drexel with double-digit rebounds. No one with 8 or with 9, right? Fordham really won that rebounding battle. At the half, they only had a few rebounds less than Drexel. They finished the game in the lead in the rebounding column, and let me tell you, Colin, healthily so. 42-31 rebounds, with Fordham collecting 10 offensive rebounds, Drexel 7. The advantage really coming on the defensive side where Fordham grabbed 8 more defensive rebounds. I know the perimeter play, the stellar play of Keyshawn Washington today is going to be the headline of this one, and she deserves that. But it says something to me. You have all these adages of older coaches that say, hey, rebounding, defense, that's where games are won. Well, you heard Candace Green talk right about her defense, and Fordham won that rebounding battle in the trenches, Colin. Down low, they cut deep into those Drexel Dragons, and no more fire to be breathed on this Rams squad tonight.
Listen, I'm a New York guy. You're a New Jersey guy. We love a gritty brand of basketball, and part of that is rebounding well. And part of rebounding well is being willing to be aggressive defensively. The second highest scorer for the Dragons today was Kylie Lavelle. She had 10 points on an atrocious 2 of 10 shooting performance. 6 of her points came at the line. That tells me Fordham was willing to let her earn her buckets at the charity stripe instead of just giving her easy looks in the paint. All around, Rams played a physical game when they had to. That goes both ways, on the perimeter, in the paint. Obviously, better in the paint when they weren't having to guard Washington, which is where it ended up counting today.
Colin, spot on there with that. Final stat that I think is funny to look at is that these teams shot just about identically from beyond the arc, which highlights the importance of the things you and I have been highlighting ourselves here at halftime and on our postgame show. The real nitty-gritty is where the work was done and where the game was won tonight for these Fordham Rams. So Fordham will take on the winner of tomorrow night's game between Columbia and Fairleigh Dickinson. Those two teams are going to play at 7 p.m. The winner of that game will be Fordham's next opponent in the WNIT's second round. So to wrap up our broadcast here today, I want to thank our lovely broadcasters, Miles Grossman and Lou Orlando, our wonderful on-site producer, Julia Moss, Thomas Aiello behind the boards here in the studio. For Colin Loughran on updates, I'm your studio host, Kris Pursiainen, thanking everyone for tuning in tonight to WFUV Sports' production of Fordham women's basketball. Our station director is Bobby Chaffardini.